Good evening. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Time for Change call for 9 p.m. Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018. Now, what we're going to do tonight is pretty similar to what we always do, is that cover a few things, and then we'll go into Q&A. And now, obviously, there are people that make noise when we do the Q&A, and they aren't aware of it. And they could be on speaker and they could be preoccupied doing something else and not knowing that it's disrupting. And not hear me say, put yourself on mute or star 6 yourself. So the call before the last one, we had a lot of interference. Obviously, it was hard for people to listen to the call in the beginning. But, we'll fare through. We'll get it right. If people, are obviously trying to disrupt the call, we can always tell that. But in the long run, I think we'll be fine. But if everyone understands that we're in a transition period here on this planet, we have a world that we've all grown up in, and the world is a structure, matrix to trick, manipulate, and enslave the population. So that's the world that's been created. That's the world that most of us grew up in. Now, and included in that world are a lot of deceit and misrepresentation that gets people believing certain things and off target or off track. Then you have a new world. And the new world vibrates at a much different frequency than the old world. And all of the things in the old world do not exist in the new world. Okay? And that's why I've been kind of slowly giving out certain information to try to have you be guided and understand that we have, in the new world, we will have a financial system that's basically, there won't be any criminals, right? There'll be some that will try, but they'll be basically immediately dealt with, and then eventually it'll phase out. So we will be in the new world that we transition. We transition from this old world to the new world, and that's what we're doing right now. And with the new world, we have a lot of financial freedom, health freedom, well-being, happiness, and joy. Not like this old world that we're moving out of. And it's hard for people to differentiate between the old and the new because the new is not in full view yet. So it's constantly being covered up and constantly being darkened and blackened out so that you don't see it and you don't recognize it, and you still think that, the world we have is the world we will always have. This is a good trick because when this trick's employed, it causes the population to think and feel that energy and to keep it, giving it energy, giving it strength, so it hangs on. Now remember that we, as the human race, can circumvent just about anything. We can literally change anything we desire. But yet the key is not to allow yourself to drop down vibrationally. Okay? In other words, in the new world, the vibration is at a point, and that's why we're working on adjusting everyone so that the transition is really, quite frankly, quite smooth. So instead of rough and really tough, because if you're mired in the lower vibrational frequencies and you're stuck there, and you don't know that you're stuck there, it's very difficult to bring yourself up all at once. Okay, it's just not. It's not something that most people can do. It's difficult. So in the transition from the old world to the new world, that's where we talk about all these technologies. We talk about all the technologies that we've discussed and that have come out in the last several months and people are talking about. Now, those technologies will saturate the population. And we will have, and you've heard me say this before, but the ultimate goal is to make sure that every single dwelling on the planet, for the most part, unless there's where people don't really want one in their dwelling and they can go somewhere to use it, but to have a medbed, a plasma medbed, in their dwelling so that they have access to it whenever they need it type situation. Like you have a refrigerator, well, this room is for the medbed. That's what the medbed's in the room, and that's it. That's where the medbed is, the medbed room. Now, there's a lot of people, as we know, we did the healing meditation today, and there's a lot of people on the planet, millions upon millions, that obviously need, great assistance in healing, curing themselves. Now, understand, I've mentioned that we eventually will get to a point where we will not need devices, that we will maintain health because we're so connected to our God spark that we can zero in on any abnormalities in the body and correct them and fix them without any application, whether it's naturopathic or anything. But right now, we need those technologies and to become educated about them because, and when I mean technology, I mean nature technologies, which nature provides in the planet. And Prime Source Creator God has, all of this that's being created and surfaced. For instance, there are inventions available that can literally change your energetic field or your aura and without penetrating the body. Understand that this isn't something that goes into the bloodstream. This changes the frequency and harmonics of the body depending on its application, and can eliminate pain, can basically eliminate pain and cure problems in the body, period. And it's available, well, it will be available soon, but these are some of the things that people have forgotten, that are out there. They're concentrating on the mechanical and electrical technologies, which is great. But in the meantime, we have things that can be applied to the body and non-chemical based. Remember that. All of these things are non-chemical. They're from extracts and herbs and from the planet, derived from the planet, sent to us by our Creator. So, there's things that can be done that people just aren't aware of it. For instance, you can reverse your aging. You can slow the process or actually reverse it. I personally know some people that are in their late 60s and have been on a process for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And their blood is tested all the time, and you imagine being 68 with the blood of a 20-year-old human. Now, being 68 with the blood of a 20-year-old human, okay? Now, some of these technologies, and by the way, that is from a root of a plant that does that, okay? It's not something whipped up in a lab. Now, there are other things that are being done, and of course, they try to stop them. They try to not allow them to get out to the public. But, and we're talking about, while we're transitioning to the new world, and remember, a world's not a planet. It's a system put in place for the population. It's all around and everything inside the world, so you look at it as kind of a matrix-type setup. But the new world is awareness, clarity. So anyway, when you understand things like I've talked about cancer is such an atrocity because all of it's curable. That's it, bottom line. It just, people aren't educated. They aren't knowledgeable, so they die. They become eaten alive, and I've watched it firsthand, and it just eats the body alive, and they die. That's it. Right? The only thing that they have in the allopathic is basically mostly is radiation and chemotherapy. As you all know, chemo is derived from mustard gas. It comes from that, the mustard plant. It's derived from the mustard gas that they used to use during World War I. And basically what it does is it destroys the immune system in the body permanently. The immune system is shot. It's burnt to a crisp. So that's why people have to be so careful that are in remission or that have beaten cancer, have to be careful about getting sick because their immune system is totally shot and compromised. Okay? And so anyway, that should be outlawed because it's absolute murder. Well, yeah, people say, well, yeah, there's some people that survive it. There are, but they aren't the same and never will be. On average, a cancer patient usually, there are exceptions, but usually if they beat it, 5 to 6 years later, it's back and they're dead. Like, for instance, one of my brothers had a procedure done on his colon, and he was fine, clear, no cancer. 3 years later, it was back with a vengeance, and he passed. So it went through the brain and everything. So, then there are some people, and I know some people who have literally beaten cancer 4, 5, 6 times, but eventually it gets them. So imagine that. Imagine if the population was educated enough and open-minded enough to understand that natural things literally could cure their cancer, okay? Where they weren't afraid anymore, and they took power into their hands. They took it back. They're responsible for their bodies. They are aware and knowledgeable and get educated on the different applications for their human body to heal, to become healed. Now, there's all kinds of things on this planet. Maybe some of you have heard about the John of God, who's in South America, who basically you go to where he is located, and it's kind of like a little village-type area, and there's buildings, and you can spend the night there, and you come in, and he's got helpers that come in, and he literally passes his hand over you, and he actually does surgery and operation without you seeing or noticing, and literally you're cured. If you have tumors and everything, they're gone, you're cured. And a lot of people think that's crazy. But see, I know people who have personally gone to him and had this stuff done. People I've known for years. Not crazies either, okay? So there are a lot of things that we are not aware of, and the reason we're not aware of is because we're kept in the dark. So we don't jump outside the matrix to say, I'm going to find out for myself, because most people are fed the bowl that it's all poppycock and it's all snake oil salesman, it's all garbage, and none of it works. Say, so when they hear about something, they say, oh no, I got to go to chemo, and that stuff's all garbage, and then I'll die. I'll die. Well, chemo, you'll die too. And well, with chemo, I have a chance to live. So that's just addressing the cancer issue. There are so many other things. Okay, it's like diabetes. Right? You've got juvenile diabetes. That's when you're born basically with it. You've got type 1 diabetes, and you've got type 2 diabetes. Okay, it's basically where the body's out of balance, and the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin to balance it out, and your glucose levels are really shot and out of whack, and you basically are in trouble if you don't get it corrected, if you don't assist. But what do? They give you things like glucophage and all kinds of different drugs and medications. I know because I had a person in my family that had it, type 2. So this isn't, something that I've just educated myself up because I've done that, but I've also experienced it firsthand and what it can do to somebody, and these things I hear about all the time. I hear people are sending me emails all the time. I'm reading, I'm listening. Their loved ones, and they're deteriorating, they're dying. There's all kinds of illnesses and weaknesses, and people's knees that are blown out and shot and need knee replacements, and then more knee replacements and shoulder replacements, and heart issues, kidney issues. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Now, all of these things, realistically, no one would say that heart disease can be reversed, but it can be. It can be. Kidney disease, well, that can't be reversed. Once you have kidney disease, you end up dying, going on dialysis and then dying. That's wrong. It's a proven fact that's wrong. I've literally met and talked with people who have, stage 4 kidney disease that have reversed their kidneys. Reversed the damage, rejuvenated and regenerated their kidneys. So, there's so many things that people just don't comprehend, and nor do they trust it, see, because it's not prevalent. It's not out there in broad daylight. It's not coming from the allopathic industry, the allopathic business. So when you start realizing the fact that what can I do? It's like with cancer, if you research, that cancer back in the 70s, they had a cure for it. And then what happened is they washed the cure out because it was inexpensive, it didn't cost a lot of money, and it put a big dent in their wallets. So that's the reason. So there are so many different applications that can be applied. Now, every body, believe it or not, system, every human body is different. Jane's is different than Bill's, Their chemistry is different. Or Tom and Al have a different chemistry. So what you apply to one may not work with the other, That's why people say, well, someone just swears about something. Gosh, this stuff's been great. It's wonderful. It's done miracles. And the other person says, well, it doesn't do anything for me. So it's crap, And that's what happens, So it takes a person to educate themselves and to know their body. But how many people do you know that actually know their body? Most people will begin to know their body as they get older, say. But then, usually, the damage they've done through the years when they were young and everything, and footloose, fancy-free, reckless abandon, they didn't think about those things on what they were doing to their bodies. So then as they get older, these things start showing up as the system starts deteriorating and can't handle and can't fight certain things, and degradation of tissue, degradation of your stem cell production. Now, when your body turns a certain age, and this is the way it works, we have a couple of things that determine, without genetic manipulation, our aging process. Obviously, one is stem cells. Another one is telomeres. Telomeres they have a body, and they have a leg coming off of each end. So they have two legs off of each end. That's what they look like. They're a little square body, and they have a little squarish, roundish body, and they have two legs coming off of each end, so 4 legs. And the telomere regenerates the body. And as the telomeres, the legs get shorter and shorter and shorter, that means you are aging. There's no way of the age is progressing. If you ever notice people that get a certain age, they rapidly age at a certain point. It's because the telomeres have dropped greatly in their ability to renew. Now, stem cells which they've done a lot more work than they're letting the public know about, is that, for instance, and unfortunately right now it's so expensive that a lot of people can't touch it, but imagine a person that's got bone on bone on their knee, which means all the cartilage is gone. Okay, there's no synovial fluid. Now the synovial fluid is like it's a gelish type of fluid that lines the cartilage and it lubricates, and it causes it to stay lubricated. Now, when the cartilage is destroyed and deteriorates and bleeds away, and then all you have is bone on bone, you don't have any of the fluid there. So, and the bone just grinds and grinds and grinds, and obviously there's a lot of pain, and the person is not real mobile, and they have to wear some kind of a brace or crutches or whatever. Now, there is stem cell therapy with really top-notch stem cell specialists, not the ones that are quacks, that can apply stem cell therapy to that joint, and within 3 to 6 weeks, you've got new cartilage growing in, you end up with a new knee. Okay? Same with a person with eye problems. Stem cell therapy literally regenerates the eye. Okay? That's like macular degeneration, which more and more people have that they don't know they have. Like I said, because of the blue light off of the computers and the laptops and the smartphones and all of that, the television, with these smart televisions, you've got a lot of blue light. The blue light damages the macula in the eye. And over a long period of time, it deteriorates it. And then you get a certain age, it starts showing up. And people just don't know that. Right? In fact, they have special glasses that if you're going to look at those screens, you wear, that filters out the blue light, so your eyes aren't harmed. But see, a lot of people don't know those things, so they're confronted with these ailments and these degradation of their systems, where it starts having problems. It's the same with all your joints. It's the same with every organ in your body. If and with stem cells, you turn like 60, 65 years old, 90% of your stem cell production is gone. Most people don't know that. 90%. So then what that means is that you've got accelerated aging and deterioration of the body. So to slow it, to stop it or reverse it, currently, right now, without these new technologies coming in, is obtainable. It can be done. Period. Another thing, if everybody had IV chelation therapy, if it was a prerequisite, and we had a universal insurance coverage for the American people, and for that matter, the planet, for everybody, then what would happen is that it would pay for it. And you sit there, because normally it's about $3,000 every time you sit in a chair and you get an IV chelation. And IV chelation means it cleans the arteries. Keeps it simple. They use vitamin C and a couple other naturals that literally clean out all of your arteries and veins in the body. Carotid arteries, everything. So it keeps them supple, it keeps them flexible, it keeps the blood flowing well, and no obstructions that can cause all kinds of damage to the body. But yet, that is not mainstream. It's just not out there for people. So see, there's so many preventatives, things that will stop you from having to go through all the garbage and all the pain, all of worrying about how to pay for it, worrying about going to the doctors, worrying about the hospital, worrying, and it's more stress and fear that's instilled in humanity that, people, it's like, holy cow, this is crazy. And a long time ago, see, the American people were homeopathic, which means that you practice home application. You educate and learn about a lot of the extracts, herbs, and different fruits, vegetables, all natural, organic type of life, living organisms that can be combined and put together, amino acids, that can literally regenerate and rejuvenate your body. say. And when you know, imagine having that knowledge, and you're at home and say, okay, well, I've got a situation where I think someone might be, they know they're coming down with something. Well, they take a couple tablespoons of colloidal silver, proven the best antibiotic on the planet. You can read all about it without all the discrediting they try to give it, because they banned it because they didn't want it to replace their money-making end of pharmaceuticals as far as antibiotics and stuff, which are antibiotics are one of the most toxic things you can put in your body. And people put them in their body. Guess why? Well, because they tell you take them for 10 days. Usually that's the duration of your sickness if you have a healthy body. It usually takes 10 days for the body to rid itself of it in most cases. So when you start to realize that you have a medicine cabinet, you've got all these different extracts and stuff that you've compiled, and each applies to different ailments and so on and so forth. And you've got a de-aging area where you've got certain things that you take, and you've got a wellness so that you don't get sick type thing, and you have something for your joints, and amino acids are very important, so you have those, and you use those, and your diet. See, people's diets are all over the board. All right? Someone starts a fad diet. Well, this is good. Keto, okay, the latest one. There'll be others. There always is. Low carb, high carb, all of this stuff for people, constantly dieting. But diet's not the answer because it never has been. Years ago, I was a personal fitness trainer. And I used to prescribe diets and everything for people, and would watch and exercise and watch how long it would take before they would stop coming or they would stop doing it. Didn't take long, okay, even though when they had results. So they would get the results, and then they would throw everything in the garbage and then just continue on with their lives, and everything that they had accomplished, they would totally omit it because it didn't work anymore, okay? Now, it's interesting because when you talk about diet in this country, you get this pyramid thing, which is absolute garbage. It should be thrown out. Everybody has, like I said earlier, everybody's body is different, chemistry-wise. So someone could take something and it doesn't do anything. Other one takes it, have results immediately. Someone else takes it takes a little bit, but it works. So you have to kind of understand that so that people don't get impatient and say, well, this is crap. Well, okay, it's not working for me. I have to try something else, all right? Or I may have to increase the strength of it because it's not working right now. And it's funny because in our society, everything is instant. So everybody wants instant results. They want it instant. They want it now, and they don't have to wait, okay? Well, when you use natural applications, sometimes that works, but sometimes you have to wait. You have to continually be on something and continually use it until you start noticing the changes in your body. Now, when you get, and everything costs money, that's obvious. So it's not like everybody can afford putting all this stuff together. So they have to be very careful on what they're going to choose to orchestrate a change in their bodies for the better, okay? So it's like what I share with people is that if you're going to eat food, do not buy non-organic. And I know organic's more expensive, but you can find areas where it's affordable and it lasts a lot longer, and you can stretch it out. So, but organic. And you can tell by the barcode on the organic food because there's a 9 in front of the other 4 numbers, because the non-organic GMO'd starts with a 4 usually, and then it goes from there. There's four numbers. Organic's 9. And the organic non-GMO, because some organics they don't say non-GMO, but they say organic. Okay. And organic is a process where the soil, for 3 years, you cannot use any pesticides or any artificial chemicalized application to the soil. Soil's got to be clean. It's got to be healthy through natural derivatives, and nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide is basically the three, and moisture, H2O, that makes up the soil pretty much, and you add different composting to it, and you mix it up. And then eventually you get certified as organic because the soil is that way. And then you can grow things. And the same with growing. You can't use any pesticides or any chemicals on the vegetables or fruits that you grow, period. So using organic, and in this country a long time ago, you didn't see things organic because years and years ago, when I was a real young guy, I was in partnership with health food store. And back then, that was back in the early 70s, and that was unheard of because no one really knew anything about health food stores. They weren't that big of a deal. You know, you were either a hippie or an earth person and, you know, strange and that type of thing. But anyway, healthy eating is we eat to live. That's why we eat. See, but humanity's been trained to live to eat. Okay, switch. It's easy. It's a flick. It's a switch. Now, you know, people enjoy the taste of food and everything, so they eat it, and it's, you know, conversation and social get-togethers and so on and so forth. But you can still do that, and you eat smartly, and you eat intelligently, so your body is healthy long time, and you don't have all the ailments that are created by processed food, by non-organic items, because GMO is one of the worst things in the world you can put in your body. It alters the structure of the body and the DNA. It's horrible. It's bad. It's just bad. And people are pounding it down every day. Okay. There's other things that people are eating that they don't know what's in it. They just assume that it's ground beef, and they just assume that it's safe and so on and so forth. But when you have all this stuff, it's like beef does not digest in the body. It's very hard for the body to digest it. It's got protein, fatty acids, and so on and so forth, and some people swear by it, but it's dead. Now think about when you eat something dead, what does that do for the body? It's dead. Okay? So you're kind of careful on what you're looking at, and you become more knowledgeable, and you apply what you feel is going to help you live much longer and much healthier. That makes a lot of sense. So what you put in is what you get out. It's what you get out of it. So eating healthy foods is crucial to your well-being. And it's not GMO'd foods. In most grocery stores, most of the stuff in there is GMO'd. It's garbage. And if some of you remember back years and years ago, the grocery store didn't really have that much of diversity as far as product lines. I mean, there weren't that many. There was ample amount, but not like today. So you look at the body as something that you got to make last as long as you can. Okay. Now imagine people say, well, the med beds are coming out, and then we can lay in a med bed and be 35 and not worry about it. Yeah, but you have to get in the habit of treating that body still healthy. You got to, you got to be in the habit of eating correctly and healthful foods so that body, that 35-year-old body, stays healthy. Period. You're not going to. The med bed is not going to repeatedly renew that body every hour on the hour because it won't do that. See. So if you understand your body, and you start understanding a lot of things. You start understanding your brain and what it's for. You start understanding the pineal gland. You start going into the non-biological and the spiritual avenues of the body, what it's about, And it's housing a divine energy. It's housing a God spark. So it's got to be pretty important. Okay, it allows you to navigate the planet. It now allows you to navigate things and to do things physically in the physical world. So these are things that there's a wealth, and when you interact with people that have gone that road, who have spent years and years and years of research and development and application, when I mean application where they're guinea pig and they try these different things and they see what they do and they see what they're made of, and then they research the things they're made of, and then they start understanding, and then they look at the conflicts and what's good and what's bad, and you do that year after year after year after year, Okay? People think protein builds muscle, but actually minerals build muscle. And that's a big mistake, too. So they can pump all these protein powders and everything out there in the public, and there's just a ton of them, and none of them are cheap. They're all super expensive. And so protein, get protein, all right? And no one knows what the metal content in there, the toxification, what they're contained, where these plant-based proteins were grown, how were they cultivated, so on and so forth. No one will pick up the phone and call the company, and then 9 times out of 10, the company probably won't answer you, or they'll lie. So you have to use discernment, and you have to become like your own naturopathic for yourself. So you research and you look at things, or you get with people that have the knowledge, and then you learn from them. See? And it's a process. It's never too late. I mean, I know people in their 90s that, they don't have a lot of money, and they get by, and they know what to do, and they know what to buy, and they're healthy people. They're clear, they're mobile. They don't use canes or walkers or anything like that. So, it's important to realize that, and we'll do some Q&A here shortly. But understand the two worlds. Okay, the old one and the new one we're transitioning to, because so many people, and I try to warn them not to get sucked into the movie, and they do anyway. They get sucked into the movie because they listen to stuff that's negative, that's threatening. You got to prepare. You got to be a prepper. Prepare for the worst. Make sure that you have toilet paper and food and everything stashed away. Make sure you've got gold and silver stashed away. Well, not everybody has the financial means to collect all this stuff and buy it. Okay. And these preppers, they forget to tell, ask, well, this is only $150, and that one's only $200, and this one's $50, and it adds up. So when you realize that, and think about it this way: if you get enough people doing something that are scared, they're fearful, and they believe it, they can almost create it. So it's important and dangerous to go there, so that you say, okay, so what are we doing to make this shift? Well, these meditations are very impactful. I've said that. I get a lot of people writing in that are telling me the things that they've seen and witnessed, and they're very out of the ordinary. So you realize that the biggest power we do have is the love, is eternal love. That's the biggest power. It heals. It consoles. It nurtures. It eradicates evil and darkness and destruction, and it eliminates all of it. It doesn't exist anymore. All of that evil and fear that people have. And another thing, when people allow fear to go through them, is if they have a fear, is to face the fear and just say, come on in, okay? You'll find that it disappears. It's a feeling, actually. If you get that fear, it usually comes up from the stomach, and it comes up through the chest and the sternum area, and it's unsettling, and you have this fear of whatever it is. And so to eliminate that fear, you just let it go in, give it love, and it dissipates. It goes away, period. And also you start to grow with the connection to your higher self, with your God spark, that your connection to your physical body isn't a life or death anymore. It's love, and it's caring, and it's softness, and it's peace. And you start to understand that your God spark is immortal, and your physical body is temporary, and you never die. See, that's part of these meditations. It's teaching people to move in and become permanently connected with their God self. And this physical body and the God self become one. And that way you move flawlessly. You look at things differently. You move through the fear. You don't run from the fear. It passes through you. The anxiety, all of these things, they pass through you. Depression, You no longer are sitting there, I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to deal with that, and then pushing it away, which can create more problems. It literally flows past and through you, and it's gone. And once you become more and more confident in those processes, then you start realizing when you come to a place of loving yourself genuinely all the time, because you forgive I forgive myself, I shouldn't have done that type of thing. But once you get to that point, things miraculously change because your outlook is different. Your outlook is bright. Your attitude is bright. You feel good. You're happy, no matter what. Because I remember I said, it's all inside of you, every single bit of it. And when we start understanding that and start drawing upon that, it's like a fountain of youth. It revitalizes you. You just feel better. And that's the point. And look at how people beat themselves up, looking everywhere for joy and happiness, looking for it everywhere. Everywhere. See? When all along they contain it all inside. So and that's, as you begin, as that doors and windows are opened and the breeze comes through and you start realizing it, and the sun's shining, and you start saying, wow, this is good. This feels good. And your guilt goes. You let the guilt pass through you, because everybody has guilt one time or another. They feel guilty. There's something in life or whatever. You get the guilt, and you get the self-esteem, which you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that. You did some wrong things, that you don't forgive yourself, and all of this stuff builds up, and it weighs you down, and it keeps you down. Say, you have a few bright moments here and there, but it keeps you down, and your life. Everybody strives to be happy in this life. They all do. Everybody. I don't care who they are. Some fake it. They kind of want people to think that they're happy, but underneath, when they get away from people, they're totally miserable. I'm talking about genuine happiness and joy. And that's why I always wish that for everybody at every meditation, because in the end, because that's what we have, that's who we are. Everything follows after that. All the good things come. It's automatic. When you're happy and you commit to yourself of being happy and you tap into your inside through your God spark, through your higher self, through your spirit, your soul, you connect with that, you will open up the floodgates of all the things that you have been running after, chasing, trying to obtain, when all along you had it. You had it. So, all of these things they're up to all of us to embrace. See? Now, do you honestly think we would have had a World War II if everybody knew and were connected to their higher self? Never would have happened in a million years. The manipulators never would have been able to drum it up. Same with World War I. Same with all the conflicts of humanity, that at least some of the conflicts that we're aware of that happened throughout history. The killing, the bombing, the swords, the arrows, the bodily fighting. I mean, all of it, period. So the new world is you don't harm each other, right? You don't harm the environment or the ecosystem. You respect all life. So now living in harmony means that you finally connected with your higher self to the point where it's consistent. That's your best friend. That's the truest form of love is when you love yourself. That's the truest form of love. That's why we have so many relationship problems on this planet. That's why so many people have so many problems coming together and partnering. That's the bottom line. Because so many of us do not love ourselves genuinely. We do not. It's materialism. It's capitalism. It's having things that people have been taught brings you happiness. It's having a lot of money. It's having a lot of things, cars, houses, clothes, all of the stuff. And that's not it. See? So this frenzy of constantly searching for it, and most people don't ever find it. That's the shame of it. And the whole time it was inside of them all along. And I'm sure some of you are starting to experience glimpses of that on what's happening. It works every which way. It works all directions. You know, people that are ill, if they connect with their higher self deeply when they're slumbering, before you go to bed at night, before you go to sleep, is that you become silent. That's a great time. You become totally still, and you concentrate on your God self to combine with it, to blend with it, to connect with your God self. And you'd be amazed at the sleep you have, and you'd be amazed at how things start to transform. Okay? And the kingdom, as I've said before, the kingdom of God is in each and every one of us. Prime source creator God, the source. Whatever people label the creation of us, all of creation, everybody's got different names. Prime source creator God, Father, Mother God, is basically, or the one, is that we are one with our God selves. That's the education and learning. Imagine teaching children that. Imagine that. And this isn't man-made because it's not religion. It's all inherent to each and every one of us. So we all practice it. We learn how to do it. We learn. Just like anything, we learn. We're like babies, and then we learn, and we master it. And you become peaceful. With that love, I'll tell you what follows. Peace, a great peace, a wonderful prosperity and abundance and wealth, a wonderful joy and happiness and bliss. Those all follow that. It's a magnet. And the universe identifies that, and it opens up the floodgates, and you get it all comes in without you having to do anything. It's just that one key ingredient, and that is the association with your higher self. How much do you love yourself? And see, I always say the ego, because we have to separate the ego. The ego comes out of the mind, out of the brain, out of the mind. That's where the ego comes from, okay? The heart energy is by far much superior than the brain or mind energy. But everybody's been taught that everything's the brain, everything's the brain, everything's the brain. Okay, everything's the mind. Mind over matter. If you put your mind to it. All of those sayings, okay? But if you feel, and you really open up the floodgates of your feel in your heart center, and you connect with that higher self, watch what happens. All the things that you've desired start showing up. Subtly at first. So we're going to do some Q&A, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll unmute everybody, and then I'll mute so that you can unmute yourself. So what you want to do is, if you want to ask a question, because we have people that will come in, and we have 5-6 people at once all want to ask questions. So the best way to do it is that you say, I have a question. My name is so-and-so, and I have a question. Okay. My name's Bill, and I have a question. So that way everybody understands, make announcement, they wait their turn, we answer the question, and we go on. Now, another thing that we have to be careful of, there's a lot of people that come into the queue that want to ask questions. And they've written me and said they would just didn't, it got too lengthy because, I understand that you got a lot you'd like to ask, but we cannot afford to spend 20 to 30 minutes discussing with one person because that locks out everybody else. And the time goes by. I mean, the last call was like over 4 hours, okay? I think, it was close to 4 hours. But so be mindful of that, and we can, cover as much as we can, and and cover the surface on a lot of things, and then take it from there. So we'll go ahead.
My name is Jim from Washington.
Okay.
Jared, Jana Gibson. Oh.
Okay. All right. Gibson, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, what's the name of that root that you were just talking about that keeps you your arteries and veins healthy? You didn't say the name of it.
You're talking about keeping the arteries clean?
Yes.
Well, I was talking about IV chelation. And okay, the arteries is you've got two avenues with your arteries. One is a non-GMO'd, powdered form, non-Chinese manufactured vitamin C.
Vitamin C, okay.
Powder form, non-GMO'd, and not made in China.
Okay.
Okay. Which means
Thank
that
you
it's
so much.
Metal toxicity is gone, and it's very healthy. And there's also a couple other things that are aminos that are added to that. You can send me an email, and I can put that in the email.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Cindy Taylor. I have a question.
Yes, Cindy.
This is simple and short and sweet. Sam Mugsy on the Quantum Shift, along with Drake Bailey and Kent Dunn, we're talking about nanotechnologies, nanoparticles, and I'm asking, since Archangel Raphael is here, to rid us of the nanoparticles that permeate everything on this planet. They're in the air, they're in our blood, they're in the food, they're in the soil, and aren't those like little computers that are in everything, that have infiltrated everything? We need to get rid of those.
The nanite technology is basically it's controlled by a computer center. The computer programs for specific tasks the nanites. How they can be used for good, or they can be used for vile things. So it depends on whose hands they're in. Nanotechnology basically is. I'll give you an example. The road wears out.
You're breaking up.
Road. Potholes and everything.
You're breaking up.
Oh, I can't, but it's interference coming in. So
okay.
Trying to eliminate that. But
I can hear you now.
Basically, the road, the nanites are put in the material, and the surface of the road is continually repaired by the nanites, so that's a good thing. Same with metals and bridges and that type of thing, and buildings. But also the nanites are sprayed in the chemtrails, come down, enter the body, and they cause all kinds of eventual damage to the tissues.
That's what I'm talking about. Can Archangel Raphael, with a healing, since he's here, get rid of that for us out of our bodies?
Yeah, that's being when we called upon him in the meditation today. We were able to short-circuit bad applications and continue to do so in a field, an energy field of neutralizing the negative nanite technology so that it's not going to damage humanity.
Oh, God, thank you. I'll get off. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is Susie, and I have
Jared.
Next question. Yes.
Yeah, this is DW from Texas. I got a question for you. Interested if you have any knowledge and support for the super suit and bringing it publicly. Do you have any ideas on that?
The super suit, which is basically allows a human to do a lot of things out in space and strength-wise, health-wise. It's like, how do you put it? It's almost like a skin.
I understand what it is, but I just was curious if you were really interested in the idea of bringing it, that technology to policemen and firemen. That's what I'm interested in supporting.
Yeah, it's going to be coming in. Then we will be given directions on the manufacturing process before the replicators come in, and then we'll start manufacturing it, and we will give it to the
so you're part of it.
the police, the firemen, people in harm's way that help the public in different ways, so that they can wear these super suits. And the point is to give them away. It's not charging money. So it's just to manufacture them and distribute them to whoever needs them. Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to support that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We will have them. Yep.
Thank God.
Hi, Jared. This is Gina.
Yes, Gina.
Hi, Jared. I was thinking about something when the lady before 2 calls ago was talking about Archangel Raphael being here and to help us support, to get rid of, things that are against humanity. I do my spiritual work every night, and what I do is I invoke my higher self. I do the invocation. I am one with my I am presence, and I am one with the I am presence of all humanity 3 times. And then once I do that, I invoke for the violet flame or the threefold flame to also, for my higher self to communicate with the higher selves of every man, woman, and child on our planet, and for all of us to do this together. So it's very powerful. I feel the power, the immense power when we do this, when I'm doing this through my I am presence and with all humanity. So that's a good way to also incorporate, have all of us be doing that on a daily, nightly basis, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to see great results. So that's kind of an idea that I've had.
Yeah, it's a good idea for people to practice that. Anything that we can do to balance and increase our awareness of who we are.
Right.
Period. Thank you.
Yes, and you're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Jared.
Jared, Jim from Washington. Jared.
Yes, Jim.
It's a pleasure, again, to talk with you. I've had the opportunity a couple of times. I don't have any questions. I just have some things I would like to share. First of all, I want to thank you and include all the rest of the planet of our Creator's creation here to thank you for all that you're doing for each and every one of us, and who you are and what you're doing, for bringing us to reality, telling us the truth. Let us realize what's happening behind the scenes and what is happening present to prepare us for the wonderful new life that we're all going to have. I just want to thank you for all of that. I know that we're all gods and goddesses. We have all the abilities and the talents. We just have been living in the dark since we tabernacled in the flesh from the light from our heavenly family down here. And we've been told all these great truths that we've been told, as you know, has all been lies. But it's hard for people, and I can understand that. I lived with that. I share something with people that is true that they can't believe or understand. And I've been told by sharing that with them that I'm crazy, dangerous, and I should be locked up, and the men in the white coats can put me away. Mankind has not opened up yet, and they're still in the dark. Not everybody, obviously, because there's more people coming to the light. My wife and I'm a young 86-year young person, and my wife is a young 92-year person, and we have a great mission upon this earth. And I'm the one that's talked to you before because I definitely want to get involved heavily with the medbeds. One of my humanitarian projects is I want to dot the United States and the planet with natural healing clinics with the medbeds and all of them, and all the rest of things that we can do for mankind on this planet. But we're really grateful, and I speak with mankind when I say we're really grateful and thankful for who you are. We thank our Creator for sending you down here to be the great teacher and share all the wonderful things that you do. And I wish and thank you with all my heart, my mind, and strength, with all my love. That's eternal and everlasting, unconditional. And thank you again.
I appreciate that, Jim, and it's my pleasure. And you're definitely a gift to humanity. So thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jared, this is Beverly. Do you have an update? Do you have an update on Antarctica?
Antarctica is in the process of going through some changes, okay, and there's, we've got a lot of movement and earth shaking going on, and the reason is because we have an influence of another planetary body that's basically come into our solar system, which is basically pulling on our sun, causing the sun to do strange things, and it's pulling on all the planets, causing, for instance, people, that's being affected. The Arctic, Antarctica is being affected. But there's a lot of things going on in Antarctica that are basically being kept from the public, and that's all going to come out. That's all going to be revealed. It's all going to be exposed, so that humanity will know exactly what the heck has been going on there. And we're talking about civilization, frozen civilization, major city complexes, frozen under the ice. I mean, it goes on and on and on. There's also an underground base there that has all kinds of spacecraft technologies, whole fleets of reverse-engineered spacecraft, complexes, several thousand people living in that underground facility, and it's all being kept a secret. And if you'll notice, it's all been blown by the pyramids that are out there that they've literally discovered all over the place, the underground installations that were put there thousands of years ago, the huge caverns fed with underground steam vents that they've hollowed out. I mean, it's continual. And the process of that's going to be part of the grouping of information that's given out to humanity across the board. It's basically, there's other beings and other civilizations, and I've said this several times, that exist among us, that are still with us, that have been here longer than us. There are other civilizations that have come and gone, like the frozen one they found in Antarctica. The technologies, and they're always after technologies. So they go after the technologies, and they find bodies of other species of humanoids, and they literally are looking for advanced technologies so that they can reverse engineer them and use them. And that's what goes on there in Antarctica. There's just a whole truckload of things happening in Antarctica, but they try to blow it over, and they try to keep it silent, and they've got a hold of some of the technologies in the underground city. There's sphinxes, there's pyramids, there's all kinds of things that they've uncovered, and they blow highly heated air to melt and get down there real deep down, so that they can uncover these artifacts and continue searching for the technologies that they're hoping to find. So
is that under the power of the cabal?
No, they're not. I guess you could call it the space forces, and some beings from other planets are involved with it. Okay, and the cabal are the ones that have the underground facility with the fleets of reverse-engineered starships or unidentified flying objects, which they are identified, so you can't call them UFOs. And basically, what they were going to do, and the cabal runs that, and the reason they were going to use the fleets to stage a false attack on humanity. That's what they were going to do. So they were going to pose as beings from other planets attacking planet Earth and humanity, and cause great fear and anxiety and destruction, and try to eradicate the human race. They want us all gone by 2021. They want all of humanity gone from the planet by 2021. That's their goal. That's their direction. That's what they want, and that's what they're trying to do. So the chemtrails, all of that stuff that's being done to humanity, the GMO cropping of foods, all of it is being done to eliminate humanity from the planet. And that's why they're being shut down.
Yeah, but the cabal should be gone before that.
There's not much of them left.
Right. Okay. It's fascinating because I know the woolly mammoths up in the permafrost in Siberia were flash frozen with tropical vegetation in their mouth. They didn't even have time to swallow it. So apparently that's what happened to the civilizations in Antarctica.
Yeah, see, what happened is that the Earth, about little less than 10,000 years ago, went through a cataclysmic shift on the planet. There were earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. There were literally all kinds of actions and activities going on, and flooding, atmospheric changes. And what happened was that Earth was plunged into a ice age. And what happens with the ice age is you get these storms that they look like hurricanes, but they're on land. And they form these massive eyes, hundreds of miles in diameter. And the eye, when you come over that eye and it passes over the area, it can freeze you within seconds. With 1001, 1002, 1003, you're frozen solid. And that's what happened to the woolly mammoths. That's what happened to a lot of the life on the planet. At that time, they were flash frozen, period. And then, of course, the ice and the buildup all over the place. And if you want to see a depiction of that, you can see a real good depiction of that is in the movie The Day After Tomorrow. They show you. They show you a scene. Hold on a second here. Okay. Okay, they show you a scene in that movie, and you'll be able to see some of what happened. It actually is. It will show you some of the things that happened to the woolly mammoths and everything in that movie. So,
what's the name of the movie again?
The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm Canada Girl.
Yes.
Mine is all about babies. One call we were on before, I remember Fisher was on, and he was saying, there was a gentleman speaking, I don't remember who it was, who said even a 90-year-old person would be having the ability to have a child. And then the other part of it is, as far as the conception and the time of release for birth, is that the decision of the baby, or where is that decision made? Can you explain all this? Where is that coming from?
You talking about the spirit, the God spark entering the baby?
Well, at the moment of conception, I mean, if it's people that are truly in love versus people on a Friday night that were at the bar and don't even know each other's last name. I mean, there's quite a difference. I mean, a child conceived out of love, is it the decision of the child, this is the parent that I would like to have, versus it just kind of happens, like dogs on the lawn. I'm sorry to be rude, but you know what I mean? Like the thought going into it, is that from the actual fetus that makes the decision, yes, I want to be in this family and I'm going to go for it? Can you explain what creates that moment where it either does happen, that there is an egg meeting a sperm, or it doesn't happen? Is that a fluke, or is that a decision of the baby?
That's a good question. And there's two parts to it, to the answer. First, we as God Sparks, most of the time, will pick our families. Okay? And it's usually due to the challenges that we believe that we can handle, okay, when we come into physicality here on planet Earth, on the Earth. So we choose that for the challenges, for the different things that we'll be challenged with. And of course, we're on the other side at that time, and we're in total bliss and love and light, and we're just as happy as could be. So to us at that point, it doesn't seem difficult or a struggle to take on those responsibilities and those challenges. So we pick the family, and we go in utero, and we're born, and we start developing and forming our lives. Now there's another avenue. Okay, there are some spirits. There's not enough bodies. There's not enough human bodies. So some of the God sparks they don't care. They just, as long as they can get into a body, they don't care. So it's not so planned. Others plan it. Some are just waiting in line to get a body, to go into a body. Now, other things that happen because of that shortage of bodies, some of the God sparks will go and they call them walk-ins, and they will make an agreement with the God spark in that body. They will come in and they will talk with that God spark and say, I've got a couple of things I'd like to do. I don't need a whole lifetime to do them, but I'd like to do them. Do you mind if I come into the body for this period of time? Okay? Mm-hmm. And it's up to the God spark. Might say, no, I really don't, because I've got things I've got to do. So then sometimes they say, sure, go ahead. And now I've talked to people that have experienced this. I've talked to people that don't remember their birthdays and they're perfectly healthy, and they don't remember a lot of things about that you and I would remember.
Because they weren't there. They weren't there for it.
They weren't there. Yeah, right. Exactly. So, and then, of course, the medical system misdiagnoses people all the time because of that, because they don't understand the spiritual application of it. So to answer your question, yes, God sparks choose their families most of the time. Other times, they'll grab anybody they can. That doesn't matter. If they've got a body to get into, they're gone. And some of them didn't plan it. They just went in there. And so their spirit guide goes with them. Their guardian angels go with them, and to help them as best they can.
Any port in a storm.
That's pretty much it, because that's what happens. That's what happens. That's why you see, now some, just like you said, random encounters with male and females, and then a baby comes out, and, spirit enters that baby, is in that baby. And who would pick that? Well, sometimes that God spark will pick that situation on purpose for the challenges, period. Boom. That's why. And some of them will pick literally now some of the spirits will come in and they'll be born deformed with, autistic, all of the different things that the parents really are tasked with. But the reason they do that is they want to teach those humans the true meaning of love for one another. Mm. That's why they do it, and that's why they come in. That's the purpose.
The Down syndrome are so loving, loving.
The Down syndrome, those spirits are highly advanced spirits. They come in to teach humanity about true love, about eternal love. That's basically it. It doesn't matter, see, and if you, and I've worked with children like the autistic and Down syndrome, and that have all kinds of ailments, that are born with all kinds of abnormalities, and they're the most insightful, caring, loving, non-judgmental that you could possibly think of, and they're there to teach us. That's what they're there to do. And that's why they need more attention, and they need more care, and they need more patience, and they need more no judgment, and pure, unconditional, or just eternal love. And that's why, see, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of these God sparks come in to teach us things, and a lot of us ignore it because we look at it from a different standpoint, and we look at it as, they're weird and blah, 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 or we stare at them because they have, abnormalities, physical deformities or something, and they're there to teach us. And if we only looked at it that way, and we didn't, judge everybody like we do in this current social structure, we would be so much better.
Right. And you know something?
Yeah.
If everyone treated everyone like they treat their Down syndrome child, with just softness and love and kindness, if they treated what would be considered normal kids that way, wouldn't it be wonderful? That's maybe the lesson.
Here's another thing, and this is so important, that the masculine energy of the planet, the male, the man, mm-hmm. is under nurtured most of the time. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's advanced now in current generation. It's the under nurturement is absolutely an epidemic amongst men on the planet.
The stiff upper lip no matter what?
That, but see, the mothering in certain aspects is crucial throughout life.
Right.
For healthy masculine energy. The feminine influence is crucial. It is absolutely paramount.
As a supportive role, would you say?
Yes, not like, it's kind of not like mom would do as the boy, but the woman understands that, and she understands that in most cases, and the man understands it and literally appreciates it. Then you have a bond for life. That's crucial. That's a key element that's been forgotten. They've tried to destroy the feminine energies. They've tried to get rid of it, to put it out there. Get the feminine energy gone. Let's omit any feminine energy in the history books anywhere. Let's eliminate anything. And so that the masculine has suffered because of the total, just absolutely. Unbelievable imbalance of the masculine and the feminine energies. See,
like
because
walk the path by yourself.
Yeah, you can't operate just with one of them. You can't operate just with one of those. You just can't.
No. Okay, I don't want to hog it, but I wanted to find out where the decision for the time of birth comes, but I wanted to go back to when you said the child selects the parents. Do they go one generation beyond? Could they possibly select the grandparent as that's the grandma I want, so I'll just jump into this situation because those two people are hooked into the grandma that I want? And I only ask that because I do have a grandson that's from that kind of a situation, and we're very, very close. And I always wonder, why are we so close? Because we're very close, and I don't know why, but I think there's something deeper, and I'm trying to figure it out.
You hit on something more that's important, is that we come in, okay, and it's kind of funny to describe it this way, but some of us are in a group for many lifetimes, okay? So you in this lifetime, okay, and you talk about your grandchild. Now, your grandchild could have been your father in another lifetime.
I wondered about that.
This energy is transferred on occasion, not all the time, okay? It's just there on occasion. As the veil depletes itself, it becomes more apparent. So that's the connection that people don't understand, the familiarity. There's literally, it happens all across humanity where you find this deep drawn connection with, and so most of the times it's connected in the family at the current time, somewhere along the line. But in other areas, it's complete strangers that you come in contact with, and they make it a point somehow to the higher self gets them in the vicinity, and you meet that person, and it's like this is, and people say this, it's almost like I've known you for a long time. And guess what? You have. That's the point.
Gosh.
You just don't know what the association was. Was it a lover? Was it a spouse? Was it a brother? Was it a sister? Was it a father? Was it a grandmother?
Right.
Who was it?
But there's an instant familiarity when you've never even talked to them or met them.
Never talked to them, never met them, but yet you could sit down and just, not without much ado, and carry on a conversation till the sun comes up. Right. And it's just the way it is. But people don't, they think, wow, that's really strange. But understanding they knew each other and they've known each other in their higher spirit form and their higher selves
they just
for years and generations and lifetimes.
Okay. So, that thought crossed my mind because my dad passed away 30 years ago. My grandson was born 14 years ago, about halfway there. And I really, really was close to my dad. And when my grandson was born, it many a time crossed me, just a flash. Oh, my God, this is maybe my dad. But anyway, I don't want to drag it on. The final part is, so when it's time to be born, where is that? What starts the labor? Is it a decision of the baby? Is it, I'd like to know, where does that decision come from?
It's the God spark, okay? When it's ready to go, sometimes the spirit might have at the last minute get cold feet. And so
that's a 9.5 months pregnancy, right?
That's why some women have to, usually are toiled 48 hours, 72 hours of labor before that baby finally decides to come. And, of course, they never discuss that, but that is spiritual. That's an energy process. And sometimes that spirit says, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you. That is wonderful. I really appreciate it. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Jared.
Jimmy.
Go ahead, sir.
Jimmy from Detroit.
Hi, Jimmy.
Yes, Jared. I want excuse me. I want to thank you for your healing call today. And I wanted to ask you if you can give us some insight on MKUltra, Monarch, and Mobius.
Those are okay. That's the best way to put it is the negative side of the dark agenda on the planet, and these cells, or this training process of creating super soldiers to do the dark agenda's bidding in different case scenarios where it's either assassination, murder, a plethora of assignments that are given to them. They're taken in as children. They're usually abducted. They're brought into a assessment center. They start conditioning them and training them, mind washing them. They get them into a point where they give them shock therapy and treatments and electrocution in some parts. Another thing they do is they have to turn them into almost robotic humans that will listen to their commands, that are literally by words, by communication, it lights them up and it puts them into action and engages them. And there's women, there's men. They do it just across the board. They break their bones, become broken several times and shattered. They get stronger and stronger and stronger. These people are super strong. They have super strength. I've seen it where they can literally, the hood on the engine of a car, where they can literally tear that right off the car. And these are human beings that have been injected. They have been drugged. They have been manipulated. They have, in some cases, been genetically modified. And they are trained to be super killing machines. That's their purpose. And to create all kinds of disturbance in situations. So they can pick up a phone, they can use a beam, and they can literally switch them on and off whenever they want. And some of these people can be switched off, and they're the nicest, most kindest, calmest people you've ever seen. And all they have to do is turn the switch, and they turn into absolute wrecking machines. And these things have been going on since the days of the Nazis in the 40s, even before the World War II was invented. And do they exist still? There are some units that still are operating. They usually, when they get too exposed, they shut down and they rename them. They call them something else, and then they start up again. So they train and assess men and women to carry out nefarious activities in their favor, whether they send them out as assassins to threaten presidents or prime ministers of countries, whether they send out and they threaten a family or a politician or any leaders or CEOs or whatever. And their purpose is to carry out those orders, whether it be killing two little girls and a mom and a dad. Doesn't matter. They have no real emotional response because they're so controlled. So.
Well, Jared, this is your brother Jehoel.
Yeah.
Seraphim. And I just really appreciate what you've done for the planet and for the inhabitants.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm here to serve.
And
what I'm
I
here
love
to
you,
do.
I love you, my brother.
Love you too. Here to serve.
Later, man.
Yep.
Hi, Jared?
Yes.
Oh. Hi, this is Judy in Canada. I just want to say thank you for your huge heart to begin with. I've never seen anything like that to do what you do for all of us every day. And my question is, I have a question about the toplet plasma bombs. What's going on with them? And I heard that the chimera or the reptilian race, they're all heavily infested with nanites, and it's the AI intelligence that's behind them. And how did the AI intelligence? I heard a story about the creator of our universe had a brother who was the creator of another universe, and the AI from the brother's universe got slipped into our universe through a tear, a little tear in between the two universes, and also the base there, the Zimnova base or something that we did a meditation for. What's the status of the base? Are there chimera there? And what's the story with the chimera? Is there any progress? And also the reptilians, are the chimera are infected or partially artificial intelligence themselves? Is that why we're having so much problems with the chimera? Thanks.
I haven't heard what you said about the tear and the brothers, and that's an interesting. I haven't heard that that information.
Mm-hmm.
The artificial intelligence originated from. It penetrates the different galaxies and it comes into the universe, and it's in different parts of this universe. And like I said, it seduces if you have a biological civilization, it seduces the civilization and eventually eradicates it, and then it moves on. And if that means destroying the planet and all that's there, so be it. But it continually moves on like a disease. It's like a virus in a computer. And the virus keeps spreading and spreading and spreading and spreading. It's like the movie The Matrix, where it depicts where Neo goes in and, in the third one of the trilogy, where he goes in and he fights Mr. Smith, or the entity, so to speak, that literally gets so powerful that it replicates itself and is spreading throughout the Matrix, and it's going to, it probably would destroy the Matrix. So he goes in and he fights it and tricks it, and then it's destroyed. It's eliminated. It's literally wiped out completely of the Matrix. It's a similar situation in our part of the universe, in this part of the galaxy, in this quadrant, is that, the actual AI is strangling the planet and has been, but it's being eliminated and disintegrated. And that's why you see, these technologies, the easier and simpler they get for humanity, the more seduction is employed to humanity, to seduce humanity into thinking these are wonderful, these are going to save this, they're going to help us and then eventually literally obliterate them, like in the movie Terminator. It's a similar scenario. These are all messages, subliminal messages that are given out to humanity that, be careful and be mindful of these things. So, that's the artificial intelligence, if we really wanted to concentrate on something, is probably our biggest threat, is the artificial intelligence. It literally is. Look how humanity has taken to artificial intelligence technologies. It's like unbelievable. And look at how controlled humanity is through these technological advancements. It's amazing. It shuts them off. It keeps them from being in nature. It causes them to lose communication one-on-one, verbally with another human. It literally detains their ability to grow and growth and advance on their own in an organic way. So that's being eliminated. And we have to be very mindful of that because it can penetrate everywhere, and it's subtle, and it can grab you and it can addict you to its persuasion, so to speak. And it is everywhere. It's everywhere on the planet, unless you go out into the really remote areas where you don't use a cell phone, you don't use all those technologies, and you're just living with nature. That's different. That reconnects you as a biological organism back to the planet, which sustains you. Now, when you talk about chimera, the chimera is a group of beings that protect all of the criminal elements in government, in companies, all over the planet. They're protected, so they do anything they want, and they're never held accountable. And this has been the biggest problem on this planet right now of the transition, or some call it the event, or literally the transition from dark to light. And so the chimera has been the last holdout and the biggest thorn in the side for humanity because of the fact, and for the literally the galactic forces that would like to eradicate this last element. And so knowing that, Earth is the last front of defense for the bad guys. They made Earth, as they were being pushed back by the light forces in this part of the galaxy. They ended up setting up here on Earth in some of the asteroid areas around in our solar system and the outer belt where they set up bases. And some of these bases are old bases that were used by the builder races billions of years ago. And so they came in, they set up shop, and they started literally populating the planet here and taking over humanity. And so they embedded these plasma toplet energy weapons, bombs, if you will, that any one of them that goes off, the entire planet is vaporized, destroyed. That's how powerful they are. So that's their last level of defense before they lose all their power. So trying to take the balance and put it highly in favor of the light of eternal love has been the biggest push for this to take place, because collectively, once humanity reaches a level of 0 point, which is basically it tips the scales, so to speak, where the chimera, these stranglet toplet plasma energy bombs are diffused, and the light forces can come in and literally make them inert and harmless without any interference from the chimera. So the reason that it's happening, I mean, they've eliminated a lot of these weapons and diffused a lot of these bombs, but there's still remaining bombs that are still active that they're working on trying. And, we've gone over the threshold of halfway. We've gone over the threshold of 3/4 of a way. We're just about there on them being neutralized, period. And now you can understand that, why people, they're confused because of the fact that we have this situation that a lot of people just aren't aware of, and they probably wouldn't believe it anyway. But the fact of the matter is that we have an element, a force of beings on the earth that are holding up everything. And until they are eradicated, we have a situation where we have to wait until they are eradicated. And the way we can do this is through collective meditation and energizing humanity into eternal love and calling upon all light forces to help with the neutralization of this darkness, this energy that basically is keeping us from moving on.
What's the relationship between the chimera? I heard they have a base inside the Earth, in the inner Earth. Is that correct?
Yeah, they had a lot of bases. Now they got one left that's still active.
Is that the one with that funny name in the Arctic?
Yeah, Nova something, yeah.
Okay, I looked it up, and the Russians, it's supposed to be a Russian military base up there where they test bombs.
Well, you've got Russia, China, and the U.S. Now, Russia has a cabal element. China has a cabal element, and the U.S. has a cabal element. Okay? Then they have the good forces, and the good forces are all coming together, uniting to help the planet transition into an era of light and peace and prosperity. Because, like I keep saying, the light elemental forces have literally taken over and taken control of pretty much the atmospheric areas in space in the solar system. So there's really not a confrontation of the dark forces and their ships have been pretty much eradicated. So now it's at a ground level on planet Earth. And it's not much longer. I mean, these beings had bases all over the place. So people aren't aware how many of them have been neutralized. They've been all over the place. And they've been here a long, long time.
Like 13,000 years or something? I heard that's when humanity had its downfall 13,000 years ago. Is it, or has it been longer than that?
We've been, pretty much humanity has been enslaved since it was created. We've been in enslavement forever. Okay? That's why this is so significant for us to come out of the enslavement. We were literally at what we weren't meant to be, but some things didn't go the way they were supposed to. Beings didn't follow direction from Prime Creator, from Prime Source Creator God. And so they went against Creator's words, and they took different directions, and so humanity became an enslaved civilization. And bred, created to do slavery work. That's why we have so much slavery on this planet, and it's rampant today. And the human race thinks that, that's from the history, it's all gone. No, slavery is probably more prevalent today than it's ever been, from children to adults. There are humans that have been taken off of Earth and put into concentration camps to do backbreaking labor on different planets, different asteroids, to mine for minerals and to make different technologies. And the reason they like humanity, the reason they like humans so much is because we're really good with our hands. So they like that. So they like collecting humans and taking them places. They like experimenting on us. And the governments have given permission for them to take some of us and experiment with us. And there's a whole lot of humans that have been experimented on, that have actually been taken in ships and literally experimented on. I mean, that's a given. That's happened for years and years and years. There's other humans that are taken and eaten. They're taken and cultivated. They're like cattle. They come in, they take them, they eat them. There's the Draco beings. There are the lizards. They look like lizards, about 9 feet tall. They've got armor skin-like. They eat humans. They come out of the ground, and they live in the ground. And this all sounds like a movie, but it's true. They come out of the ground, they eat humans. That's why a lot of people just disappear. Groups of people just disappeared. No sign of them ever. Never found them, nothing. They just gone. Taking a hike, Campsites. They just don't announce a lot of it out in front of the human race. But they know this. See, some of these corrupt leaders know all this. A lot of people don't. A lot of the things that we have been exposed to in books, in fairy tales, in science fiction, in legends, things that we believe were just made up. They weren't made up. They were put in that context to fool humanity into thinking they never were really real. They didn't exist. They were just a figment of the imagination. No big deal. They exist. They exist. And there are governments across this planet that know they exist. Say, Draco have been here a lot longer than we have. Okay? And there's good Draco and there's bad Draco. They're good Anunnaki and they're bad Anunnaki. They're good lizards and they're bad lizards. And now the giants are a different thing. The giants, which still exist, which still live here on Earth, which still eat humans, they're around, but they hide. People think that Bigfoot's a big joke. It isn't a big joke. It's a created being. It's a genetic creation, part from human DNA and part from other DNAs. They're intelligent species of humanoid beings that hide from humanity because they know humanity will give them harm. So they hide in the wooded areas, in dense forests, and that's where they live. They live in underground tunnels, and these things all exist. There are actually trolls that exist that live in the Netherlands area, out in the ice tundras, in the forest areas. I mean, so many things have been kept from the human race. It is mind-boggling. That's why this is the best way to describe the life that we are forced to live is a matrix. Is what it is, And in a way, they do feed off of us. They feed off of our anger and our aggressive tendencies and our hatred and our fear, and it's just crazy. And when you see the whole picture, and you really realize that this has all been fabricated. This is like this life's like a holographic imaging system. We literally live in a holographic pretend existence. We're so controlled that we think that we have our own direction and we have our own destiny. But we're controlled on this planet. We're directed. If we weren't controlled, that's why everybody on the planet would be wealthy. Everybody would be healthy. Everybody just about would be happy. The things that we have been taught that are normal are absolutely the opposite. It's just crazy. Seriously. If we understood that these things, they don't do us any good, and it's a good measuring stick for us. Hatred does us no good at all. Zero. Does not accomplish anything. Anger, nothing. Accomplishes nothing. Okay? And so what does love do for us? It does tremendous things. Absolutely. Across the board. There's no arguing it. No one can argue that. I don't care who they are. They can't argue that. Eternal love. How can you argue that? You can't. All right? And when people say, well, if you have eternal love and you don't have these huge armies and militaries to destroy and bomb and threaten, then someone can come in here and just kill you all. We're immortal. These bodies are temporary. See where things are progressing. That's where we're headed. See, and we won't need weapons. We won't need bombs. Because if something tries to threaten us, we collectively come together and we use our force energy, which is our God spark that comes directly from Prime Source Creator God. So we use our heart and our mind and we combine that energy and we literally put up a barrier. Literally. And nothing can hurt us. And these things, that's where we're advancing. That's where humanity is going, and they don't want us to go there. See? Because then that means they won't have control over us. So they're doing everything in their power to stop us from becoming aware. And that's the very thing that they fear, is that humanity becomes aware. And so when humanity becomes aware, guess what? Their time is done. And that's what we're experiencing.
Is all technology bad then, Jared? Like any technology, is it all bad?
No.
We just going back to nature?
No, a lot of technology is good that helps us. Mm-hmm. But make sure that the technology doesn't remove us from our association with the planet. That's where you have to really put an eye on it. If the technology moves you out of association with the planet, where it removes you from other people from interacting, okay? And I mean physically interacting, not over text messaging and that type of thing. I'm talking about literally being one with humanity, connecting with the other higher selves, communing, creating, growing things, participating, talking with one another, those physical, biological, natural actions, where if we allow the AI and technology to completely take over for us, we will atrophy. We will lose our abilities. Our brain power will drop eventually. AI knows this. When you become so dependent on things, like your cell phone, okay, when you become so attached to these technologies, then that means that you have crossed over the line and the AI is controlling you without your awareness. It's controlling you. It's telling you what to do. It's telling you how long you can do it through batteries, through all of these dumbass technologies, that batteries that wear out. You have to keep recharging them. All kinds of dumb stuff, and then they become caustic, because lithium is one of the most caustic things that you can mine out of the planet, and they're doing it in droves because it's a stupid technology. They have bio batteries that last forever. That technology exists that doesn't pollute, that you don't have to dig it out of the ground. It's amazing. This stuff that they come up with is destructive to the planet. And we as a human race, as caretakers, partial caretakers of this planet, along with other beings, the fact is that we live in beauty because we respect that beauty. We help create it, and we respect it, And instead of cutting down a tree, let's go plant a tree, all right? Let's make sure that nobody gets careless and lights fires, or that no one on purpose lights fires. Let's make sure that we police our planet and we care for it and we love it. It is a life form. It lives. The planets are life forms. They have a God spark. They have a God self that's within them, their spirit. So they live. They're just in a different form. So, with the symbiont relationship that humanity has with the planet, you'd never know, because of the lack of respect that we've given this planet that actually supports everything that we are. It's in physical form. It supports our food. It supports everything that is made. It's because of this planet, Gaia, Earth, Terra Christa. It supplies us all, and yet we continually destroy it. It's like a mad rush to see how long we can pollute it beyond its ability to live. And then when the planet goes, you can't eat money. And anybody that tries to eat money gets no nutrition out of it. You can't eat it. So what happens is that the planet dies and we die. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what AI would like to have happen. That's what the dark agenda wants. They want to obliterate humanity by the year 2021 and have us all gone, period. And then by the year somewhere about 2080, they want to bring in the root race. There's allegedly 7 root races. We're number 5. They want to eradicate us, bring in the 6, keep it to 20 million, then by 2080 bring in the 7th root race. So it's just crazy. And it's time that humanity grows up. That we see, we fix our wrong ways, we correct those that only mean to do harm, and we put them in their place, which is basically take them out of society and put them away, and literally not have them ever again, and be responsible for the fact that now it's time for us to live in peace, eternal love, and harmony with one another, and that's a big one. That's a big one right there, because all of you have that in you because you're awakened. You're awake. You're not on this call by happenstance. You are here because you know that it's time for us to make this change. You feel it. You're drawn to it. All right. Others are, but they don't understand it because they're still asleep. And
Jared, I have
Yeah, go ahead.
another question, Jared. Maybe the best thing, I have 50 projects lined up with the RV money, but maybe they should be more focused on returning people to nature. Maybe instead of using our fingers and text messaging. We need to use that money for a renaissance and teach people to use a musical instrument with their fingers.
Ah, there you go. Now you're talking. Yep. It's to help our brothers and sisters become reacquainted with the very life form that sustains us. That's it. You know, it's like if someone is in their community, it starts in the communities on the planet. It starts in people's very own towns. I don't care if you have a population of 500, you know, or 10. I mean, it's coming together and working together and respecting one another and loving one another and building a harmony and having it spread. It's just inviting that across the planet. Because I'm sure that everybody on this line listening would agree to the fact that we don't like war and conflict. We don't like blowing up and all that stuff. None of us ever did. What we really like to do is live in peace, eternal love, respect each other, have joy and happiness, and exist, have a life. Help the planet. Help the animals. Care for each other. And it's totally the opposite of what they've tried to literally brainwash the human race into believing. These lies, they're all lies. All wars have been lies. That's just crazy. All over something called money. Think about that. Power, okay, because after they have so much money, they want to have the power, and then they've created a monetary system that controls everything. And so they control everything, and they have the power. So they like that they feed off of that, okay? And that's just it. Just keep the rest of them living in poverty and enslaved. We don't care how many die. In fact, let's get rid of all of them, and let's just bring in another civilization, you know? Let's make things that break and fall apart and rot and pollute the environment, and let's just keep them in those technologies while we use super advanced technologies. It's just crazy. It's so lopsided, okay? And all of humanity, imagine this, understanding that everybody is literally wealthy on this planet. Everybody. And that's not a fairy tale, and it's not a dream, it's a reality. The problem is, when everybody has been sleeping, they have been continually stealing from everybody. And they've done it very, very covertly, and no one's ever known that that's what they've been doing. This structure, this taxation structure, the banking system, it is all dark. It is all vile. It's gone nothing but steal, rape, and pillage. You gotta, you know, when you peel it back, and it's revealed for what it truly is. It is literally a lie. It's a lie perpetrated on humanity, done to control and enslave them all. Complete lie. You think about this. Here's one fact, that when a bank makes a loan, it makes 95% off of that loan right off the top. Think about that. That's everywhere. Okay? All right? All of you, do not have freedom. You are enslaved from the time you're born, and you don't even know it. Your parents don't know it either. They take out a life insurance policy on every one of us. They literally make all this money, and everybody's suffering. Everybody, all these people suffering in poverty, not enough money, can't support it. I mean, it goes, starving to death. I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous. It's like a nut house. It literally is. It's like a nut house where you've got all of these wackos running around, running the planet. And it's just out of control. It's just reckless abandon. And so humanity has to rise. That's why we did the rise meditation. We have to rise. We have no choice. Either face total extinction or rise and come to the realization that we can no longer be complacent. We have to rise, comprehend, understand, and start emitting our God-given energies of love, eternal love, prosperity, peace, and abundance, because we control it. They don't. See? And the biggest fear they have is that we find out that they don't control it. And that's what's happening. And that's why you're seeing everything, all of this crap in Washington, D.C., all of it, it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. All of it is. It's just nonsensical. It's like a bunch of little children that are playing in a sandbox and getting in an argument all day long, every day, throwing their trucks and toys at each other. I'm going to take my dolly, I'm going home. If you put that impression and you kind of make the comparison, you see it. See? And this is the way humanity, I pray and I meditate and I hope that it finally comes to the realization, because we're all powerful. There's no lesser humanity. There's no lesser human than another. We're all powerful. We're all God sparks. Okay, our bodies are different. Yeah, they look different. We have different appearances and stuff. But inside, we're gods. We are the God sparks. All right, we were created, divinely created. We are divine energies. We are not meant to be on our knees, suffering, dying, and starving. We were never created that way. And Prime Creator has watched over from the very beginning that we were created. Whether we were spliced, genetically modified, whatever. It's all been guided for a specific reason. And we rise to the occasion, and that's what we're doing. And that's what humanity is now recognizing as a whole and saying, we don't want you people anymore. We don't care. You're going to be gone, okay? We're going to have a new structure that we're going to implement. And if these governments, who are also divine creations, all right, if they can't do it, then we will bring in humans that can do it, that can eradicate poverty and quit arguing and obsessing over money and control and let their people suffer. It's crazy, or being threatened that, you can't have this money because we'll steal it, and we don't care about your country. So you can't transfer this money over there, because if you transfer it, then we're just going to steal it anyway. Say, and the only way that's going to stop is that we have enough people, enough of humanity come out of the woodwork that might have been in that role, that might have been in the dark, that might have participated unwillingly, unknowingly, but that they come to the light and they say, you know what, I want to help. I don't want my kids and my grandkids vaporized. I don't want the entire planet scorched or literally blown up, because these creatures don't want to give up their power. That's the bottom line. So how do we circumvent it? Through meditation. That's it. That's the key. It's meditation, meditation, meditation. And that's why we have meditations every day, 7 days a week, and by Creator, by Prime Source Creator God, help and assistance, we will continue to do those and continue to do them until we become so big, so vast, and spread across this planet so largely that it cannot be ignored. And that we finally have our day in the sun, so to speak, where we make the conversion completely and where we are in joy. We are in eternal love and we are in peace. And
Jared,
we work together. Yes.
This is Barb, and I have a question.
Sure.
So is it your belief that if you communicate with your higher self, that if you do not have the means to have access to organic food, or that you can rid your body of your GMOs and your nanobots by strictly meditating and using your God self to release that out of your body? Do you believe that?
Yes. Yeah. And if you're clear and aware enough for that, and drink plenty of completely clean water, you can do that. Absolutely.
Okay. And then do you have a time frame when you feel that we're going to be able to go over the top and get to the event and the light takes over the dark?
I think that, I'll be honest with you, I believe right now from the energies and the communications that I've received that we have already taken the dark over. The most dangerous an evil is when it's cornered. And that darkness is cornered. And that's when it becomes the most active and most prevalent up in people's faces. And that's what we're witnessing. Unprecedented in the history of this country, unprecedented in the history of the planet. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the final gas of breath. And I'm going to tell you something. They will believe that they are victorious right down to the last one. They could be the only one left standing, and we could be in the billions coming at them, and they would still believe that they were victorious. That's how they view things. So since they control the media, since they control the corporations, since they control the majority of the wealth, all of the financial systems and banking systems, since they control their matrix, they make it so that that humanity believes that they are still in control. They are not. Okay? And the light, I'd say we are just weeks away from completely overtaking them. Completely. And when it falls, with the remnants of them, it will fall hard. Literally.
Well, one more. I just need to tell you that thank you. I cannot tell you how grateful that we all are on this call for everything you have done to bring us to where we're at. It's amazing. We love you, and we'll keep on. We'll keep there with you with your meditation every day, and keep it going so we get there. And that's our goal. So thanks so much.
That. We just all we have to do, all we should do is spread the word, keep spreading the word, keep trying to get people to come to the meditation. We've got people all over the planet doing that. Wherever they
Jared, into that regard, please forgive me for interrupting. This is being recorded. What number can we call so we can share with other people, and a PIN number?
You can get that on the Global 8000 Meditation Call.org. It's all on there.
Oh boy, I didn't write that down. What?
Global 8000.
Just a minute. 8,000. Okay.
Global 8000 Meditation. All one word. Global.
Thank you.
Yeah. .org. O-R-G. So.
.org.
Yeah. .org. O-R-G.
Right.
And anybody can go there, and it's got all the instructions on there. And basically, you can see the replay of the recording, get it out to people, and the code number to access the recording. And I leave it available on the site for people to share it and to get it out there. IQD puts it out there. They'll put this recording as soon as I post it. They'll get it out, which I thank IQD for doing that immensely. Those guys over there are phenomenal. And to get that done and to get it out so it goes out there on YouTube and people watch it and everything or listen to it and pass it around and listen to it. There's been groups of people that listen to them all over the planet, all over the place. So we're getting it out, and we get it out there, and that's one of the reasons I've kept it so simple and sustain that simplicity, because then people aren't afraid. They don't think it's some Dalai Lama or guru sitting on a mountain that's going to take them through the Taoist way of meditation, because it's simple. It's simple. I have sat with people that are super heavy-duty TMers and said, I think meditation is simple. And they said, you're right, it is. It is absolutely simple. And it all goes to the core of connecting to the God, to the one.
That's what the one received. I received when I got my feet off course.
Jared, one last thing. Is it possible you could share with us Nasara one of these times?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I really appreciate that for mankind. I said earlier I've been told I'm crazy and dangerous, should be locked up, and the men in white coats should come the way, because I share Nasara with everybody.
Yeah,
I believe it's our salvation. That we're going to literally we're going to go from hell and damnation, doom and gloom, to love and abundance and healings.
And that's what's happening right now. Because
right.
The reason it's happening now, they don't want anybody to know it's happening now, so they're trying to create as much muckiness as they possibly can to scare and frighten everybody. So,
Jared?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Karen in Wyoming. I have a question.
Sure, Karen.
Speaking so much about being controlled and all the suffering, I have a question about addictions. And I've tried so many different things to stop smoking, blessings and energy work, and have not been able to completely stop smoking, and it's created quite a bit of a toll on my health. And I'm wondering if you have any recommendations for a way to be done with this habit and also to heal my lungs and my breathing and the damage that I've done.
It's interesting because I can understand the addiction because years and years ago I was addicted to smoking. So, and this is what I did. I came to the conclusion all by myself that I needed assistance from the angels and from Prime Source Creator God. I needed help, okay? And I had this feeling that obviously they were answering me. And they said to me, so you're done. I said, yes, I'm absolutely done. So they said, go to bed, and you'll never want another cigarette. Go to bed. I got quiet as I was meditating, and it came in. Go to bed. You'll never want another cigarette. And guess what? When I woke up the next morning, I never smoked another cigarette and never had withdrawals. I never gained a whole ton of weight and never went to any other addiction. So
wow. I've asked, of course, for help and assistance from my crew and angels and guides and Prime Source and everything you can think of, and nothing like that has happened for me. And like it's getting to a point where I'm having trouble breathing. I don't know if there's some dark energy that's just trying to end my life, or that
your smoking constricts the blood vessels, okay? And after a while, the blood vessels become calcified, and they become brittle, and they aren't flexible anymore. And then they start getting clogged because they're damaged. And on the internal lining of the arteries, they become inflammation, and then they become scored or erupted, where they kind of bleed and fight. Different like cholesterol collects in there, and you get plaque buildup. So when you start feeling a laboring of breath, when you start feeling that means that your arteries are becoming obstructed to the point where it's affecting the oxygenation of the blood and the blood flow through the heart and through the rest of the body. And when it affects the blood flow through the heart is having to work that much harder to be oxygenated, to oxygenate things through the lungs. And so as that drops and decreases, you then you have a hard time breathing. And that's why a lot of people get sleep apnea. That's why they have that and they stop breathing. It's because of that congestion in the arteries that's causing the person to start labor and breathing. Now, when those arteries are cleared, the breathing drops down, stops. Now, there is something that you can get, that you can use, that will, and you've got to, you got to take it slowly to begin with, but it's all natural. It's not chemical, and it's called Cardio C. Cardio, CARDIO-C.
Okay.
And what that will do is it will begin to detox and clear the arteries through natural chelation. Okay, it's got a couple other elements in there, aminos, which help as well, and it is I swear by it. It's a wonderful. It's non-GMO vitamin C. It's derived here in the U.S. It is so it's not made in China, and it's non-GMO vitamin C. And one scoop in clean water, and I don't mean spring water, I mean distilled water. So you put that in there and mix it up, let it dissolve in about 8 ounces of water. And then, or you can put it in anything, quite frankly, but you put it in that and drink it. And, do it once a day to start off with, and you'll begin to notice a difference. You'll begin to notice the change in energy, and it's got a good dose of vitamin C. It's about 2,500 milligrams of just cleanest, best vitamin C you can get a hold of. And it's a super antioxidant. It's the grandfather of antioxidants, vitamin C is.
Where can you get that at Whole Foods, Natural Grocers?
You can. There are some places that may carry it, okay? But if they don't, you can get it at the Vitamin C Foundation.
Vitamin C Foundation?
Yep.
Is that a website to go to and order it, you mean? Is that?
Yeah, it's a company, it's a foundation, the Vitamin C Foundation, and they carry just those Cardio C products, all different vitamin C applications.
Okay.
And one dose a day lasts you a month, and it's roughly runs you about $30.
Okay. It's called the Vitamin the Vitamin C Foundation.
Yeah, if you can't find it anywhere else, they have it, and they'll put you on a once-a-month shipment where you can get a discount, and when you first purchase it, they'll give you a discount anyway.
Okay.
So
well, I'm already to that point that you were talking about, and the constant chest pain. You have any other suggestions as far as I've been able to cut down, but I just can't seem to stop? And any other suggestions?
Yeah, there's another deterrent that'll help you, and that is sunflower seeds.
Okay.
When you have that urge, because you're addicted to the nicotine is what you're addicted to. That's the addiction. That's the drug addiction, the nicotine. So to counteract that, the sunflower seeds, you get them in any health food store in the bulk section.
Okay, and that counteracts the nicotine?
Yeah, it stops you wanting to. You just eat those when you want a cigarette.
Okay. I haven't tried that.
The chemical reaction in there will literally, obviously it works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for everybody, but you can try it and see if it works for you. To see if it.
And you're talking about the shelled sunflower seeds.
Yeah, the ones that are out of the shell. Yeah.
Oh, out of the shell? Out of the shell?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Take you forever for it to benefit you if you had to take those little seeds out of each shell. That'd be crazy.
Okay, sunflower seeds. And then asking for help again from Prime Source Creator.
Yeah, that's key. The key is that you've got to make sure that you connect with your God self. That's the only, asking for everybody else outside. They listen, but it doesn't come through because you're not cooperating subconsciously. So you block it unknowingly. So what you do is you come in and, like when we meditate, you go in and you join with your God self in total silence and quiet, where you're not disturbed, and before you have a cigarette, and then sit quietly, and then ask your God self that you need assistance and you want to never smoke again. You never want to smoke cigarettes again. And wait for the answer. Just sit there and wait. Now, that may not come to you in a voice. It may come to you in a feeling through your heart center. It may come to you through your mind. It may come to you in different ways. It may come to you through another person, another human, but it will come to you. And it will assist you on eliminating your addiction to the nicotine and the smoking, and you'll stop smoking. Period.
And I've just been trying so long. Do you have any thoughts about the patch, the nicotine patch?
Well, it's a chemical, you know, and you try to do everything you can naturally for the body because you love your body and you want it to be healthy. So, you know, some people use the patch. They use the gum filled with chemicals to stop you to quit you. Some people have used hypnotism, to stop.
I've tried that. That did not work for me.
Yeah, and you have to stay away from others who smoke. In the beginning, you can't. You've got to separate yourself from that because it's like anything else. You've got to eliminate it and stop it. And see, we're capable of doing that. That's a given. In you, you have the ability and the power to control that and to stop it. You know, taking a chemical is it maybe not. The sure thing is talk to your God self.
A lot of interference. A lot of interference there. Couldn't hear you, Jared.
Jared, this is Julie.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Jared, I was wondering about the med beds, when they're going to be available and the cost, and where in the United States they might be available.
That what'll happen with those is, so we can clarify that, is that there is going to be a shipment of the plasma energy med beds that will come in, and hold on a second here, we've got some interference. Okay, let me see. Okay, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Before you move on, Jared, this is Karen. I just wanted to say thank you for the help with the smoking. I will order that stuff.
You're welcome.
You said stay away from people who smoke. Unfortunately, my husband smokes and is trying to quit as well, so that makes it a little harder.
Okay, well that's different.
Right. That's just
but
kind of
do the best you can. But you connecting with your God self is the absolute key. Period.
Okay.
So,
and that can I get your email address?
Yeah, we are. Let's see. We are One Light for All.
We are One Light for All?
We are One Light for All at gmail.com.
Okay, light or life?
Light, like in light bulb, L-I-G-H-T.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm still here, Jared, about the med beds.
Okay, the med bed, this will not come, this particular med bed technology is not going to come from the ground. It's going to come from other planetary beings. They're going to bring it in. They're going to bring them in. And then there are groups on the planet that will be entrusted with those beds, and with the different groups, we will most likely be able to cover 25 million people to start off with. And at that point, then we can start getting them everywhere, okay? But that's how the plan for those plasma energy med beds to come in.
Have they determined the cost yet, Jared? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Have they determined the cost?
What we're trying to do, okay, is have no cost.
Okay.
No cost, all right? Get away from this, profit and loss and gain and money and all that. We're working toward towards having no cost for the med beds. They will be just offered for people. Obviously, we'll have an infrastructure set up, but no money. Not selling it and offering it. I've heard rumors. People have come to me and said, I heard somebody say that they were, $60,000 to $80,000. And we're working on not charging for these. These are going to be offered to humanity to heal the physical body, to heal the body for humanity.
Are there individuals here in the United States that have already tried it and it was great results?
To the best of my knowledge, these rumors that are flying around where people have used it and blah, 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 no.
They haven't. Okay.
You remember, be careful and use discernment because there's all kinds of rumors and talk out there. You've got people that would like that to happen, so they get that out. There's another rumor going around that I'm going to be in L.A. at a conference and introduce the bed, and that's not true either.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the timing is on this?
Before the year's out.
Before the year's out. Okay, wonderful. May I email you regarding a project that I'm going to be rolling out after the RV? My name is Julie.
Julie, just send it to weareonelightforall@gmail.com.
At Gmail. I will definitely do that, Jared. Thank you so much. Highest blessings.
Thank you.
Jared, I'd like to finish off what I had. I just have 4 fast points with the child. I'd like to know if the child makes the decision on which gender it's going to be prior to conception. Where does that decision, girl or boy, come from?
Well, if you're on the other side and you're picking who you want to be, okay, and are you going to care what gender you're going to be? Now, maybe you will, and you may say, okay, I want to be a boy. I want to be a male energy, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, you have been a male. You have been a female more than once. You have also been black, red, white, brown. You have been born deformed. You were also born young and died young. You have been born into a criminal family. I mean, you've been born and reincarnated so many times that you've been every gender, everything. Okay, so depending if you are selecting, then you probably will pick. Sometimes we pick them. Sometimes we don't care. We just want to come in. So if you do pick them, then you pick the gender. You do.
Okay.
On the other side. Okay. So mom is carrying a fetus, female, and that's where I'm going. That's going to be me. Period.
So the decision is made after the pregnancy is started?
Oh no, it's made before.
Okay. So the other part is, if for twins, triplets, up to 8, is that a group process that they decide, let's 8 of us go on board here with this situation and we'll all be...
I'll tell you what that does. When you have a close-knit group of spirits that always like to be together and always want to be in physical form, let's all go together, then you have triplets, quadruplets, and sextuplets, that type of thing.
And they decide we're all going to be girls or boys or some of each?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Understand that the God spark is not gender sensitive. We encompass all. So that's we don't have a gender as a God spark.
Okay, we're neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, and almost done. Like, is a baby that's conceived out of real love a more placid and content child right from birth forward?
Well, it's in some cases yes, in some cases no, depending on the love that child is given and direction. by its mentors, its mother and father.
Right, but if the mother and father are just two as one, as opposed to two people fighting all the time or having arguments or whatever, I mean, does that child select a very calming, loving, peaceful environment versus a war zone half the time?
Sometimes we will select a real challenging situation where we go into a family where we end up with no father or we end up with no mother.
Mm-hmm.
And the one gender raises us. We look at that as a challenge that we can persevere through.
It's far more common now than it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, because and see, on this planet, believe it or not, this planet is I'll go like this. You incarnate on planet Earth because of how it's structured by the vileness, and it's a living hell in pretty much some cases. You advance in your knowledge base in that experience tenfold compared to a docile planet. So your God spark experiences a vast array of advancement, knowledge-wise and experience-wise, living that life on Earth compared to another planet where, 50 or 60 years of life is only maybe a count of one in experience. On Earth, it's a count of 100 or 120 in experience. So you kind of put it in context. We are just absolutely in love with learning and absorbing and experiencing. That's what we're creators, so we experience. And so we come to Earth, and that's why so many are lined up. They want to come in here and they want to experience. Because over there, they look at Earth and they go, "Oh, that's a piece of cake. I could have that life. I could do that life. That's a piece of cake. No big deal."
See, and the last part is when a single mom, I mean, now they'll have a career and they didn't meet Mr. Right, so they'll just go ahead and have a child because that's what they want to do. Not a problem. And everybody goes, "Oh yeah, single mom, no problem." Well, when a male is the head of the household and a single parent, people are like, "Look at him. How does he do it?" And I'm like, "What is this?" And he's got the higher paycheck than the woman. I'm like, "Come on, you guys, get it together." But why is it that the male is like, people are in awe, he's doing it all by himself on his big fat paycheck, where the mom that's got the half the paycheck is like, "Yeah, no big deal." What is that about?
Because of the misinterpretation that humanity has on the genders, and the fact is that one of the toughest challenges is for the feminine energy to support the family in nurturing and love.
Mm-hmm.
And the feminine energy has a much more resilience to it compared to the masculine energy. The feminine energy has a much, take care of the sneezes and the snuffle and the colds and the flus and the sickness, and where the feminine, the female can come in, take care of everybody. Okay, and the male usually becomes the little baby and wants attention and all that type of thing, and that's pretty normal across the board. The power is within each feminine energy in females that say, I love myself and am content with who I am. The biggest problem is that it's ripped, and it's disillusionment that's caused amongst the feminine energy and the buckling of the field of energy that houses the feminine energy, which causes it to fracture and causes it to separate from its true destiny and path, which is basically nurturing the planet, nurturing humanity. That's the feminine energy, the nurturing part. And without it, we're in trouble. So if they can get rid of it, everything becomes lopsided and out of balance. So if you take a female and a male, and then they're married and they start a family, the understanding in the very beginning is that the female knows and understands that first, obviously they're usually not connected to their God self, but that's important, very important to begin with. But then if they understand themselves and they love themselves, and then they come together, then the man she understands that he lights up with nurturing. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that the masculine energy needs that. And I don't care how tough a guy is. I don't care if he's 6'8", weighs 400 pounds, and can lift a house. It doesn't matter. It is the nurturing that is so badly missed with male and female. It is an absolute atrocity on what the dark agenda has done to male and females, and not only in this country but around the world, where it separates them. It almost polarizes them, and it makes them almost ineffective. That's why you have such tearing and ripping in relationships, and harm and hatred and anger and dishonesty, manipulation, lie, all of the stuff that causes
the head game stuff,
the head games and everything. If honestly, now you understand that if a male energy, a masculine energy, gives itself to the feminine and the feminine to the male, and they have that bond, and the male knows that he's going to get nurturing, and it's offered openly by the woman, and the woman knows that she is going to get emotional support from the masculine energy, where she receives that energy and that strength in return, in reciprocation of the nurturing, which brings that out of the male in the relationship. So it's reciprocal, it's connected, and it fits together like a puzzle. So the female, she comes in and she wants to, because of her love for the male, and she wants to nurture. And see, a lot of women don't know how to nurture. They don't know how because they were never taught. They don't know what it means, see? But there's an innate switch inside of all women that can be turned on, where they immediately come to nurture. They nurture the male, and the male becomes warmed and content and happy, and then the female is then rewarded by strength of the masculine energy coming in as a emotional support. Women, the feminine energy requires emotional support. And that's why so many women have such a difficult time with men, because they don't get the emotional support, and they don't get the line of comfort of communication. It's not there. The man doesn't know how to be emotional strength for her. If he was an emotional strength, he would be open and sharing with her and supportive of her emotions, see? Instead, you have conflict, because that's the imbalance between the two energies, the masculine energy and the feminine, and not understanding ourselves. Right. And once we understand ourselves, it's fluid. It's just fluid. That's what, how many women have you come across that say, if only I could meet a man that's this, and this? Mr. Perfect, who never comes up. There's nothing wrong with that wanting that, because that desire is there. Because if she gets a guy that is nurturing from the standpoint of supporting her emotions, and then learning to understand those emotions lovingly, okay, softly and peacefully, then the female reciprocates by wanting to nurture that male or that man. And he feels that warmth and that love in his heart center. And that grows them together. It bonds them. It grows and it strengthens. Right. And the female becomes, Can we go to a new topic? Yeah. I just wanted to ask the funny thing. Is that what when they say if mama's happy, everybody's happy? And that's it, I'm done. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Yep.
Hey, Jared, I have a question.
Sure.
Jared, mine's deal with the health. Can you suggest anything for I have a deficient energy in my spleen, and sometimes my bladder is not actually up to par. And the last reading I got is I had excessive pericardium in my chest and everything, and plus I'm diabetic.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, send an email to weareonelightforall@gmail.com, and I'll make some suggestions, because what I will put a disclaimer in is that I'm not a MD or anything like that. So these are just natural aids for better health for people. So, but send me an email and just let me know what you have concerns about, and then I'll make some recommendations, some natural recommendations.
We are one light for the word for or the letter?
The word.
I mean, the number.
The word FOR.
Okay, for all.
Yeah, we are one light for all at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. All right, Jared. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Jared?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Hello. Thank you for everything you do for all of us. You're our God, our guiding light. I wrote the other day asking, because in your last call you said something that there was a cure for macular degeneration. I have in one eye the wet, and I was expecting to hear something, but it didn't come. So I'm getting worse, and of course I believe always in natural healing, always. The body is supposed to heal itself if we help it. Could you tell me if there's something natural, of course?
Yeah. Now there's, if you go on to Google and you type in natural cure for macular degeneration.
I have done it in YouTube. There are things, but, well, I wanted to hear from you.
There is a guy, a husband, whose wife went through the diagnosis that she was going to go blind, and it was advancing fast, macular degeneration, and her, she was losing her eyesight very, very quickly. He put together a diet, a food diet that healed it and put her eyesight back to 20/20.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that. I bought it, and it's about shakes, and it's insane. It's 20,000 shakes a day with so many things that, well, I would have to be, I don't know, have someone doing, I don't know, a whole restaurant doing, yeah.
Well, that's why he put those shakes together, because it'd be hard for someone to go out and get all the different fruits and vegetables to put together and make it up themselves. So that's why he puts it in those shakes. They sell the shakes.
I didn't know that. What I saw was the ingredients, which was
you can go to the ingredients, but you can also buy the shakes that are already there. You can mix and turn them into a smoothie. So. That's why they're doing that, because most people it'd be too time consuming, and it'd be hard to get all of the ingredients in one area. So he put those shakes together to help people so that they could have all the nutrients in those shakes and take those shakes, period.
So do you remember more or less? I had it in my mail like 2 years ago. I don't know where it is anymore. Do you know his name or anything?
No, I don't remember the name. I think you just have to try to dig it up and then find the shakes. Don't worry about putting the foods together, because that's just too involved.
Impossible. So.
Yeah.
So that's your best idea. No, there's nothing.
Yeah, because it works. I've talked to people who have used it, and it's been miraculous. It's helped them.
Oh my God! Let me see how I find it again. Okay.
It heals the eye. Now, there's a place that you can also go, but they're out of it, and it is it's a high-level dose of blueberry extract, and you go to the company called Piping Rock.
How do you write that? Piping,
Piping. Piping Rock, ROCK.
Rock. Okay. Yeah.
And look it up. That they've been out for a while now, but you can get that, and it's a blueberry extract, and that will have a huge impact on the macula. Okay, and also there is something else that you can use, which is really good, and it's also an extract, and it's made by Dr. Christopher, and it comes in a 1-ounce eyedropper bottle, and it's called, I think it's called Eye Clear, Dr. Christopher's Clear Eye or Eye Clear, and it you can use it as an eye wash, and it's absolutely phenomenal. But you have to dilute it. You have to dilute it, and you can get the directions on diluting it. So, but it's all natural extracts, and people have used it, have had miraculous results with it.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'll find it. Thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
Something completely different. And my last question. I'm Spanish, and like in 2 months, I have my children who live all in Spain say, "Mom, you're in Miami alone. You have to come to live with us." So I have to go there. Of course, I'll adore them, but I've been waiting and waiting for this to happen because I don't know what to do with my currency. I cannot put it in hand luggage and in the plane because I suppose they'll take it away. So I keep waiting and delaying the trip, but I cannot wait more than 2 more months. What would be the solution? Do you think this would happen before more or less two months?
Depending on how much currency you're carrying, foreign currency. I mean, if you're carrying a shoebox full, then obviously you wouldn't be able to take it with you. But if you just have a handful, you can just put it in your carry-on wallet, and it's no big deal. So,
well, I have, what I have, in a shoebox. A shoebox is not too big. What I have, more or less, I have. So.
Yeah, if you have a large sum, then obviously you wouldn't be able to carry it with you. But the monetary shift is already engaged. So we're communicating with people that let's put it this way, that this is a total financial shift. So I think that in a short period of time you'll be fine as far as the financial. I'm not going to give any kind of a date on this. I don't talk about this.
I know. I've been hearing you since the beginning. I know.
Yeah, so it's everybody across the board will be well healed when this is all said and done. I mean, there's a lot that's been going on in the background. There's a lot of confusion with people being told this and told that, and it's just an absolute three-ring circus that's been going on for ages here. But the bottom line is that the transition is engaged and it's taking place, which means that we're transitioning from the old dark control system right now, as I speak, over to a peaceful, clean financial system. And by doing that, every country will be gold-backed currency. And no matter what anybody says, the digital what I mean, like the Bitcoins and the Ethereum and all that stuff, that is not going to be the mainstream currency. It will be a gold-backed currency with a foolproof system that cannot be disturbed or redirected or money stolen. So basically, and it'll be real simple. People will it's like said before, I addressed this a long time ago, is that if people understood that when a currency is revalued, it's revalued, that everything is put into an equal playing field. And currencies revalue all the time and have throughout history on a monetary system. They did when the world was on a gold-backed system years ago. So when currency revalues, you go in and you say, okay, I've got this much of this currency. What's the current rate that I can exchange it for? And then they say, well, here's the rate. Okay, well, I'm going to pay you this much for that currency. And that's pretty much what will happen for everybody. that has different forms of currency. As those currencies revalue, and they get, after being deflated and devalued and beaten up, and having the dark agenda come into the country and blow them up, bomb them, and steal their gold and devalue their currencies, like Vietnam and Iraq and all these other countries that they've done this to, then the currencies will be revalued and put up to a marketable level with the rest of the planet and the rest of the countries, based upon what their value is hard asset-wise in the country. And then there's going to be distribution of wealth, an equal distribution of wealth to countries on the planet. So an equal distribution of wealth. So things are balanced for everybody. And those few, and I mean few compared to over 7 billion humans, but the few that have, real, legitimate currency and not forged or fraudulent currency, will just go in and they'll do the transactions, period. And no one will be left out, and everybody will be informed, and it won't be some secret message or anything else, and it'll just be fairly fluid, period. And, with the new system, you're not going to be able to have a currency that's worth 1/100th of a penny in a gold standard system. It won't work. Okay, it's common sense. It's just not that won't work. Okay, so countries have agreed to increase the value of their currencies to a equal market value for that country. So it gives them enough purchasing power. Period. So
based on gold, yes. And will the 800 numbers be real? That is a fallacy. We won't.
Well, I'm not. I won't even. I gave you what I could on there, but I'm not going to go on. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Jared, this is Sharon.
Yes.
So in the very beginning, you were talking about a root for reverse aging. Is that the astragalus root?
Astragalus, yeah.
Astragalus, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Also grapeseed.
Is grapeseed a root?
No, grapeseed extract.
Oh, extract. Okay.
That's a separate.
And the astragalus, is that a root or the extract? Because I know
it's a root. It's an actual root system of the plant, the astragalus plant, and it's the extract's taken out and it's put in a powder, or you can buy it in a liquid form.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's actually fairly common. So these people that have been using it for reverse aging, do they use, quite a bit? Or it's...
Well, with the astragalus, there's an astragalus plant grown in China that it has, there's part of the root system, special area of the root system has this impact on the body with the telomeres in the body. And that's what astragalus does. It affects the telomeres in the body. And what the telomeres do is that the legs grow, they get longer, which also reverses the aging process. Okay. Now you can go the most inexpensive way with the astragalus extracts, but there's a real expensive one which is out of most people's pockets. It's like $8,000 a year, or there's different avenues that might be about $400 or $500 cheaper than that. That some of the doctors who originally were supplying the telomere application, and that's the one where I told you the doctor. He's been on about 6, 7, 8 years, and he has the blood of a 20-year-old. He's 67, 68 years old.
Wow, that's great.
And so these things exist. It's just that they're not mainstream. People don't hear about them.
Sure. Well, what do you think about that Sisal aging pill, anti-age pill? Does that have any merit?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it sure does. I take it. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good endorsement.
Yeah, it is. And if I thought it was crap, I would say it's crap, but it isn't crap. It's is very good. It's just phenomenal.
Okay, great.
And again,
great.
Everybody's different. Their systems are different, so it may affect people in different ways. But I think it's probably a top invented. With it's all natural applications, so there's no chemicals in it, and it just does wonders.
That's great. Okay, and then my last thing, when you were talking about the Cardio C, you said something about distilled water. Is that what you drink? Is distilled water?
What I do is I'll take Himalayan pink salt.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of it because sodium is obviously too much is bad, and so I take a 32-ounce glass mug, and I fill it to the top with the distilled water, and then I grind in 2 grinds of Himalayan pink salt, and that's my mineral base that revitalizes and makes the water alive. Right. And then I drink that, but I happen to drink 4 of those a day.
Okay.
So I drink a gallon of distilled a day.
Okay, great. And do you put your Cardio C in that too?
Yeah, I'll use the distilled without the Himalayan pink salt with the Cardio C because the Cardio C has sodium ascorbate.
Right.
So there's sodium in it, so you don't need to add any more. And it's orange flavored. It's great. I've used Cardio C for years, and I know people who have used it for many years that's kept them alive.
That's nice. I think we're probably close to the same vintage, so I think we're trying to aim for the same thing. So that all this sounds really good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's get younger. Let's get younger. Yeah.
Absolutely. I told my daughter, beware, soon I will be younger than you.
That's exactly right. That's absolutely right.
That's right. Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing people get out of the med bed at 35.
Yeah, that would be really good. Would be really good. Yeah, that's about half of what I am right now, so I'd be very happy with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
I mean,
my
attitude is, let's keep our bodies as young as we can so that we can live as long as we can so that we can accomplish as much as we can.
That's right. We have
Jared,
a lot of work to do.
Can you tell us the name of the pill?
Which pill?
The reverse aging pill that you take.
Oh, the age pill?
Yeah, the name of it, and how do you spell it?
AGE pill.
That's it?
I think she's looking for Sisel, SISEL, International.
Yeah, Sisel or Sisel, based out of Switzerland,
whatever.
distributed here in the U.S. It's called the AGE pill, which is anti-glycation extreme.
Mm-hmm.
The name of it's the AGE pill. I'm looking at it right here.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jared, hi.
Jared?
The gentleman came in first, so gentlemen go first.
Okay, I'll ask a quick question. For a very large inguinal hernia, do you have any ideas? Unless the medbed comes up, that would be good. But before that happens, what do you think?
Okay, so you don't have a hiatal. Do you have a hiatal hernia?
No, inguinal, in the groin. Inguinal, inguinal.
Oh, in the groin. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
In the groin, yeah.
Do you do any forms of exercise?
I'm beyond that. It's too large. It's extremely large.
So it's exploded, so it's pushed out.
Yeah, it's pretty large. So I'm thinking the medbed would be the solution.
Yeah, the medbed would be ideal for that and many, but unfortunately we don't have our hands on it yet. But
any idea before that? Any idea?
There's and I've talked to a lot of people. I have a hiatal hernia, and I keep it under control. Of course, I do a massive amount of sit-ups every day and so on and so forth, but I keep it under control, and I found this out from a guy that had actually multiple hernias, and he kept them, he didn't have to have surgery on it because he became, now this might sound strange, but you can look it up. he became gluten-free. The gluten in the wheat caused inflammation in the tissue, which weakens the muscle structure and causes the hernia to become a problem.
I don't eat gluten. I'm pretty. My diet is extremely vegan. I don't have any gluten at all.
Okay, so if you don't eat gluten and everything, and it's progressed to that level, I'm not coming up with anything that's going to push it back in.
Well, I'm wondering if I did the MedBed is a plasma oriented. The way it works is atomizing the plasma. Is that right?
No, your body is plasma energy, and your body oscillates and vibrates at a certain frequency. So what the MedBed does is it takes your plasma energy footprint, and through the database connected with your DNA, it literally scans your body, and it picks up any abnormalities within that plasma energy field, which is your physical body. Once it identifies and maps out those abnormalities, which your hernia, heart issues, arteries, anything in that body that is out of the ordinary and non-nominal, what will happen is that it will ask, would you like a full body reatomization, or would you like just this area taken care of? This has been detected in the body. And then you give it a voice command and say, most people probably say, full body reatomization. And so then it would progress for about 2.5 minutes. It scanned the body at 2 passes over it. It starts from either head to toe or toe to head, and then the body is reatomized, put back in balance. So like the hernia that you have, is out of balance. It's a defect that caused in the plasma energy field. So it picks this up and reads it, and it puts everything back in healthy position, and it regenerates the muscle tissue where it tore and caused that hernia to push through and protrude through the muscle and become herniated. So it literally reatomizes that as if it never occurred, as if it never was there, okay? So it eliminates it completely, permanently, just like the cancers, just like anything. And it's all footprints on the body that are picked up in the plasma energy field. So that's what it does. So it literally goes in and it makes the changes in the body. If you don't have an arm, it knows that. You have a new arm. It just generates that arm out of the plasma energy. It fixes the body, period. And if you detect, and if you're too old and you want to regress, you want to reverse the age factor, it will pick up on that and it'll reatomize that, and you'll have hair the color you did when you were 35. You'll have a healthy body from head to toe, inside and out. You will have no imperfections, period. So
does it use tachyon energy also?
Yeah, I use tachyon particles for guidance. Yeah. Lays down the field.
Those are the only energies used in tachyon and atomization of the plasma?
Yeah. Plasma energy and plasma energy manipulation and tachyon particle field.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm hoping it comes out, when you said before the end of the year, I hope it comes out sooner than later. We're almost close to that. We're getting there.
Well, you and me both. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are really, really wanting that to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all you do.
You're very welcome.
Jared. Blessings. Love it.
Jared?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
This is Lori from Washington.
Yes.
Okay. I know what to do for a hiatal hernia. All you have to do is take your thumbs, put them on your sternum,
and two thumbs on the sternum and push down all the way down your stomach and everything, and do that about 3 times, and you will have so much gas that will come out, but your hernia is down and it has gone back in place.
Never heard of that one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Stillwell, who was a homeopathic doctor I've known for years, and I'm 92 years old, and I do that all the time for my hiatal hernia.
Wow.
And I haven't had to have surgery. Thank God. And another thing I want to say to you is I would like for you to email me your address. I want to write you a letter about some very, very, very natural products that help the body heal itself.
Send me your email to the to my email address at We Are One Light for All.
Yeah, One Light for All. Okay, I'll do that. And then you send me your address. I'm going to write you a letter and give you some information, because it is amazing. The water that we have is a hydrating water for the body and soul. You don't die of disease, you die of hydration.
I welcome the information. So
okay.
I welcome.
Okay, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will do that, Jared, and thank you for all you do. We listen to your call every day, and I am sending emails. I got about 50,000 emails. Some are good and some are not, but I ask them to send them back to me so that I can send them good ones, and I'm kind of weeding out my emails. I've been in this business 68 years in networking, and so I know the business. I also know what really works, and so I have a pH of 7.4 and a blood pressure of 120/80. You can't beat that at any age.
Holy moly!
Yep.
Well,
and I will share with you what I'm doing.
Well, it's a godsend. I appreciate that, and I respect your knowledge. So
it is a godsend. We are all gods and goddesses.
Yes, we are.
And we have a right to help everyone we can.
Yes, that's exactly right.
We have that right. And I'm going to exercise that right, and I send out emails on your replay all the time.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You'd be surprised the answers I get on my email. Really nice. Most of them are. We are so glad you sent us this, and we're on it, and we'll get in touch with you real soon. This type of thing.
The more we can spread the information, the better.
Absolutely. And Jimmy and I, my husband, my ever-loving husband, he's 86. I love the cradle. I'm 92. And he said he sends out emails on Nicera. I send out emails on Nicera because the National Economic Security and Reformation Act has been passed, and we are sending that out too.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely life-changing for on a national level here in America and on a global level for the rest of the planet.
Absolutely. So we're in sync with you, my beautiful friend, and I deem you as my beautiful friend.
and I accept that. And I look at you as my beautiful sister.
Oh, wonderful. You're my brother.
Yes.
You're my brother, and I'm your sister. That's right. I'm your older sister.
That's right. You're my older sister.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but listen, I'm doing great, and wait till I tell. I only have one thing wrong, and that's my balance. But I go to therapy, and they've given me some exercises to do to get my balance. And then I wear a back brace so that I can stand up straight to get my balance and do my exercise. Anyway, I'm good.
That's good to
hear. I might be 92, but I'm just as good as Betty White.
There you go. and if you strengthen your flexor muscles and your pelvic area, your flexor muscles, which keep balance in the body, which we ignore as we gain age, we ignore it. And if you strengthen those flexors, you'll never have a problem with your balance.
Okay, how do you do that?
You stand. And I'll tell you what, I'll send you a diagram once you send me an email. And
Beautiful. Well, I love you with all my heart.
Well,
and I love you with eternal love.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I love you with eternal love.
Thank you.
This is Susie. I have a question.
Jared, I have a quick clarification on the Cardio C.
Sure.
This is Karen again. I looked up the Vitamin C Foundation, lots of information. They said that they approve of, but they do not sell vitamin C. So I can't get Cardio C through the Vitamin C Foundation.
No,
so
but they have a different site. They have a different...
Yeah, I found something on Amazon, and it's a canister. It's powder, $30. It does not say Cardio C. It just says Cardio Health. Orange and white
that's
canister.
Not it.
Is that what
that's
you're talking about?
That's
okay,
not it.
And I can't find it.
I saw.
Hi, Jerry.
I was
Another
on the foundation, the Cardio C Foundation, and I saw that they said that they didn't sell it anymore. But there's a little, I think it's orange colored, saying, to buy. And if you press it, it's a little oval. Little icon on there, and you can go, and it takes you right to shop. Because I saw it.
I tried that, and I put in the Cardio C, and like I said, it took me to to Amazon, and it's just a product that says Cardio Health.
Nah.
So, Jared, that's not the same thing?
No, that's not it. No.
Jared, I'm on that web page right now, and it's called intelligentvitaminc.com with one L, INTELIGENT, vitaminc.com. And so it's based on Linus Pauling, the Nobel laureate. And so,
there you go.
Yeah. And so question here is it says if you have a referral that the shipping is free on your first order. So can we give you as the referral?
Yeah, you can put that down, or you can. There should be a code they give you because you're ordering for the first time. That's what they're talking about. So there's a referral code that they have that you can put down if you're ordering for the first time. Now I don't have it right in front of me, but
here's what it says. It says, tell us which customer sent you and get free shipping. The Cardio C referral program.
Just, you can put down Mr. Rand.
Okay. Excellent.
What is that website again? I'm sorry.
It's called Intelligent, so it's one L, INTELIGENT, vitaminc.com.
Okay, and there I can find the product that actually says Cardio C.
And so they have four different brands. There's one of four.
You want all you want. They've got little packages, 30 packages that come in a box with a little bit more expensive for a month's supply. They have a canister with powder in it. That's the one you want because that's the most reasonable, and it has a little scooper in it. And keep it in the freezer, and it's got little silicone packages so it won't cake. And keep it in the freezer and pull it out of the freezer and use that one scoop at a time for one dose, and then put it back in the freezer because it keeps longer by keeping it in the freezer. And then if you go on auto ship, you can get it for $27.45 per unit.
30% off. Exactly.
$27.45 on auto ship, which means then they'll send it to you, and you can call them and change it or do whatever you want. They're really good. I've been using them for ages, and they're really good. And it's just a good group of people. And he'll arrange it with you and send it to you, and it'll ship out. And if you say, well, I want to switch the days, or I want to just get one now and skip a couple months, and that's all right too. And you just call them, and then they'll do that too. They'll send you business cards and pamphlets and everything.
Excellent. So can I change gears? And so it's back to, thank you. And so talking about your hiatal hernia, and then the gentleman that was talking about his inguinal ligament hernia. Yeah. And so sharing a little story with you here, where back in '94, being raised chiropractic, I've always been, 100% non-allopathic, no medicine, no surgery. Ended up having a small minor gland surgery, and it ended up being Sharia law with FGM, and they did spinal cord injury, sewed me up like a rag doll with 5 unrelated parts, spent 7 years in a wheelchair. And so by divine intervention meant this elderly gentleman from Denmark who had been learning from source how to address the body naturally. And so 80% of it was already understood, releasing the compression off of the spinal cord, and then the connective tissue, and then detoxifying and getting the body pumping straight. So in 2 months, I was on my feet, full energy. But in the meantime, I was tearing apart internally, externally, from being sewn up like a rag doll, 5 unrelated parts. And I had 9 abdominal hernias, including a hiatal. So easy to repair the body. And so, like with your hiatal, like the dear, sweet older sister of ours that was just talking to you, what a dear she is. Again, with the sternum, and so you put one finger and just push up on the sternum, and then about an inch down, you're dealing with origin and insertion points with your tendons. So about an inch down on your abdomen, and so you're holding that. And so there is also connected to the bottom of the rib cage. So from that anchor point, an inch down, both on the right and the left side. Now here's the key. This is the important part. Your abdominal muscle is your core muscle. So it anchors on the bottom end on the pubic bone. So there's 4 points across the top. So you shift down to, this is especially for the inguinal ligament. I had one the size of a fist. I was getting practically new ones every month. And so it's where there is a ligament going from the outside edge of the pubic bone up to the hip bone. It's suspended in our lower abdomen, and then anchoring your abdominal muscle to those 4 points. It will hurt. Whenever there's pain in the body, if you get the tendon back onto the bone, it has a groove, it has a memory, and you just slide it right back on. So the key to it, this was the bottom line, is you have to get your body detoxified. And so we do it through simple salt baths using Morton's water softener salt, 10 cups, warm water. It will pull the toxins out, and it will allow the muscles to relax so that the tendons can stay with re-anchor them. And so it's where been able to address the body. A lot of people who are terminal, they're in the hospital, they're in ERs, ICUs, and just go in, release the spinal cord compression. Family members are going home the next day. So it's one of those where I just kept asking our divine Heavenly Father, the great physician, how do you take care of this? How do you do this? So it's just been learning on my body the guinea pig. Boy, we're great at being guinea pigs, you know. My gosh.
Yeah.
And then also, where back in 2006, had a car accident, left brain concussion, turned into a traumatic brain injury, have tried everything under the sun. And so it was with the age pill, the only thing. I learned cranial alignment, pranic healing, remote energy. Nothing helped except the age pill. So I'm with you on the age pill. It is phenomenal. It does amazing things.
It is.
Oh,
it is. You're absolutely right. It's just, it's a heck of an invention.
And one of those where it is growing us younger and smarter and living longer and enjoying life at the greatest. We are just on such a beautiful journey, and we just appreciate you on every level, Jared, and just thank you for everything you're doing. I can't say enough good. And so I'm sharing all of your, not only your dailies, but also, these time for change calls. And so just more and more are coming on. And just want to honor you at the highest. You are just a blessing on this planet. And we are rising to the occasion with eternal love every day. Today was absolutely awesome. Oh, my God.
The healing.
Yeah, with Archangel Raphael.
Yeah.
It was so powerful. And so many people benefited at the highest level.
Yeah.
So bless you on every level. Thank you for being here and being our guide.
And thank you. It is an honor to have you with us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Every day. Thank you.
Hi, Jared.
Okay, next.
Jared, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Will you say a few words about the quantum financial system?
Say that again.
Will you say a little bit about the quantum financial system that we're hearing little smatterings about? Is this the new system that we're going to be on? And if so, what is it?
Well, when you think about, this is about the simplest way I can put it. If you can think about your God spark, okay, and how we are connected to Prime Source Creator God, and we are never separated. If you can look at the quantum financial system as a bioorganic mechanism that is literally connected to Prime Source Creator God, that is to free humanity from its bondage and slavery. That's a simple definition of it without going into hieroglyphics about it. So, in other words, all of the new financial system, on the planet is another world. It isn't the world we're in now. It is the one we're transitioning to. And that world will house a transparent monetary transfer system where there will no longer be obstruction, collusion, manipulation, theft, and control by the dark. They no longer will be in charge or control of it. And if they try anything, they are, immediately scanned and identified of their intentions. If their intentions are not from the heart, if they are not from love, then they will not have any access. You can't fool that energy. You cannot fool it. So it is connected all the way around bioorganically from Prime Source Creator God, and it has been designed and engineered specifically to free the human race from the financial bondage and pilfering that has gone on from forever on humanity. And when people wake up and they finally realize something, this has absolutely been a joke on humanity. There's no reason for anybody to be impoverished. There's no reason for anybody to be without. It's silly. It's absolutely nonsensical. It's crapola. And the human race is meant to flourish and advance and grow and be creative. That's what we were given by our Creator. And to go out there and to be co-creators and to go to other planets and to meet other civilizations and to befriend and learn and advance. And instead of just being locked up on this planet and being lied to repeatedly and manipulated and controlled. So the quantum financial system, and I would say beyond financial, I would just say the quantum system basically is a God-controlled energy system. That's exactly what it is.
Amen.
And that's the information that I'm being given to give you. It is a God-controlled system, a quantum system. It's controlled, and its energy is sent out to all of those whose heart is true. Their heart energy is true. So.
Okay, I'm in here with a question, Jared.
Yes.
Hello. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
A couple of weeks ago, you let out a few little words that were not really a statement, but you said when you go to do your redemption or your exchange, to not put your money in a trust, that it was antiquated. Did I hear that right?
Well, you know, and I that was a long time ago. The whole point here is that you've got, everybody has professional advice, and it's all out there for the taking and absorption. So I will not, say anything on the financial end of recommending anything to anybody, because I'm not there. I don't have that moniker or professional licensing to do that. What I will say is that think about this, and see, there's very few people that are bankers, thank goodness, because think about how you're going. If you came across, if you won the lotto, and all of a sudden you had $300 million, what would you do? What would you do? If you all of a sudden came into $300 million, what the heck would you do? You never had that before in your life, not even close. So therefore, the only banking you've ever done is through your paychecks or self-employment or whatever, and you go to the bank and you do your business. Or nowadays, no one goes to the bank hardly anymore, and they just do everything online, which is also dangerous because I've been a victim of identity theft. So I know how those things work. So protecting your money is your responsibility. It's nobody else's. It's yours. So you figure out what's the best way to protect my money. Okay? Ideally, what you would like to do is you would like to have a banker that you could call anytime and ask that banker and for advice and input and information. Establish a good rapport with that banker that you can trust the banker. Well, that's and you have to develop a rapport, and many don't. Most people don't have that, but that's what you would do, because you would develop a rapport with that banker, and you could call the banker up and say, "Hey, I need to have you wire some funds from point A to point B." Okay, June, that's fine. I'll take care of it. Right? And come by anytime you want and pick up the wire sheet. Okay, and that's fine. Or, okay, I want you to wire this amount of money because I want to buy some gold. Okay. Now, or who's the best place I can go to? With the internet, you can find good places to buy gold or silver. And with cash, you're always going to want to have hard assets. Always. Period. Always. No exceptions. Always have hard asset. So you buy gold and silver.
Okay.
And you keep that gold and silver with you. You don't have anybody give you a certificate. I've been through that one too. So you don't you keep it. And numismatic gold is a good one, because numismatic gold is in coinage. It's not in brick. It's not in bullion. It's not in ingot. It's in coins that you can use immediately. Okay? So numismatic gold is always a good purchase. And I'm talking about when you have wealth. Say, when you have wealth it's always a good idea to say, okay, how do I keep the wealth? How do I become transparent? How do I become incognito? How do I not get, I don't care to have exposure. Okay, well, you don't call attention to yourself. That's how, it's common sense. Why would I call attention to myself and put a spotlight on myself so that everybody would know, well, what happened to them? They must have come into a lot of money. So what happens is just common sense thinking. So what happens is that, well, I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, but the ego comes in, and the ego sits there and says, oh, yeah, let's just, pound our chest and, send off sirens and everything. But that's crazy. So what you do is you don't expose yourself, period. So you're very careful, and you spend most of your time figuring out ways to protect the money, the wealth. And you get an education. So you start talking to people and everything. It might be parked somewhere. You might have an account to start off with. But, there's ways to wait until the smoke clears, to gather your wits about you, and to say, okay, so what am I going to do? What's the first thing I'm going to do? Well, I've got to get some people that know what they're doing, is what I've got to do. And you write it down. You take a sheet of paper, and you start writing down little bullets of what you are going to do, what you're going to need to do to develop an understanding and a knowledge base to protect your wealth. And this is, you could win the lotto, you could have an inheritance, and it happens to people all the time across the planet. And, when you have wealth, most people worry about losing wealth when they have it. That's what occupies them all the time. They're concerned to protecting it, hiding it, making sure that it's not stolen, that they can make it grow. And I say make it grow. Money attracts money. So when you do that, you want to become educated. Obviously, you want the knowledge so that no one can pull one over on you and pull the wool over your eyes and deceive you. So you sit there and say, okay, so now what am I going to do? Well, a recommendation came in to me quite a while ago, where I had a professional state to me that whenever you come across wealth, okay, and this is a person that was dealing with multi-billionaires, some trillionaires, for over 30 years. And this is what he told me. He said, have you ever come across great wealth? He said that what you should do in the beginning, not forever, but in the beginning, set up a brokerage account until you get your wits about you and you start masterminding with other professionals on what to do with that wealth. And that seemed like a really solid piece of advice because, it's instead of rushing around and trying to get everything arranged and all this other stuff, you can set up an account and have the funds in there and wait and then gain your understanding and gather the people together. Now, some people will go and they'll go to experts on trust development. Other people will go on estate development. There are private firms scattered all over the country that operate like on the capacity of Merrill Lynch, Edward Jones, smaller ones scattered around towns and cities that will sit with you and go over your wealth options and educate you on avenues and directions to go. And in other words, to help you protect it and expand it.
So right at exchange time, can I go into a brokerage account?
Sure. If you find out what it will do for you, and you get the knowledge and you understand it, and then just open up a brokerage account. That's all.
My attorney said that I can put it in his account and hold it there. Is that a good idea?
Oh, well, yeah. if you trust your attorney. Now that means that would that mean you would have to give him power of attorney, or does he already have that?
No, he does not.
Okay.
So brokerage account. Okay, can I ask one other question on the beds?
Sure.
Since I'm holding your money here, Jared. Okay, can I replicate a bed from a bed if I had a replicator?
That is a good question. I've been asked that before, and I think that that's going to be a possibility depending on the model of replicator. So I believe that once the replicator has the specifications of the med bed in its database, that it will be able to, you'll be able to have a replicator specifically designed to replicate the bed.
So it doesn't need a whole factory with employees?
Pardon?
Is it you're going to have a whole factory with many employees to replicate beds?
Well, we'll have to have a lot of employees across the board to help with distribution, transportation. If we are able to replicate the beds, then we have to have people, basically distributing them, moving them different places, getting them set up. So we will have to have plants for the center to have all the replicated beds put together, packed, shipped to different parts of the country.
Will the replicator come out before or after the beds?
After. Not too much after, because everything's going to come in at once. Everything's going to kind of like be boom.
Okay, so
Jerry, can
Mr.
I
Rand,
ask
please?
You, what about the subject matter should I put on the email?
Beg your pardon?
Under the subject matter on the email.
Yeah, the one I was talking about my spleen and stuff like that.
Yeah, just put help with spleen.
Okay. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
Mr. Rand, please.
Yes.
Oh, a friend of mine has a 4-millimeter brain aneurysm. It's unoperable. Do you or any of the callers know what they can do? Because they're doomed with the doctors. Can't help them.
So he has a closed head injury?
Yeah, head injury.
Yeah, it's a closed head injury.
On the artery, a 4-millimeter brain aneurysm. What can make the artery strong, perhaps?
Well, if I don't, not knowing the particulars on the actual damage, the artery's damaged. Is it bleeding?
No. It's just small little 4-millimeter aneurysm is there, and it's unoperable due to the location. They can't do surgery.
Okay, so what he does is he's got a blood sac that's formed on the side of the artery.
Oh.
An aneurysm means where a weak spot of the artery actually gets weak and it pushes out and it fills with blood.
Well, I know you said on Earth there's cures for everything. Out of your knowledge or any of the callers, do they know what supplement could be taken to help, make it better?
Well, I'll tell you what strengthens arteries right off the bat.
Okay.
Vitamin C.
Wonderful. I'll give
That's why
advice.
Cardio C would be an excellent application for his arteries because it would strengthen the wall of the arteries. Even if he has a protrusion where the artery was weakened, the vitamin C does have the potential to heal that, strengthen that artery wall so that he does not have a tear, which is basically immediate death where that's located.
Okay. And I heard a lady talk about an H pill. Would that be helpful too?
The anti-glycation, absolutely.
Okay, I'll recommend those two things to him. Thank you. God bless.
Also, Jared, what's also really helpful would be calcium.
Calcium.
Calcium with the vitamin C. Vitamin C is very good for the collagen, the connective tissue within the cells. It's very important to have the vitamin C. It'll help that get that cell wall to get stronger. Calcium also is important for the just for the blood vessels as well as vitamin C.
Okay, those three things. Thank you so much. God bless everyone.
And so, what more? This is the same lady on the H pill. Rutin, which is made from buckwheat, is amazing for strengthening the cardiovascular wall.
Oh, absolutely. Hesperidin rootin. Yeah.
Okay, you said cardio, but what about the brain arteries?
Same thing. The cardio C, the vitamin C, calcium, as the one gentleman suggested, and rutin.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next caller.
Jared, this is Jim again. In regards to the people on the line that are talking about protecting their assets, their funds when they're coming in, when they get there to them, one of the greatest asset protections on the face of the planet for over 600 years is what they call the corporation soul, which literally comes under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, not as a terminology as a corporation soul, but as a terminology as your belief system strictly given to every human being directly from our Creator, God. And it is. The purpose of the corporation soul is literally own nothing and control everything. So once you have your assets protected, then you can get as much help from any and everybody that you feel and desire that's capable of helping you to do whatever you do. But you can literally control billions and billions of dollars, for an example, control it, do anything you want to do with it, but on paper you're a pauper. Because you can't stop people from suing you, but you can sure stop them from getting any of your assets. Now, this is something that is unknown to virtually almost everybody, and especially the professions that do asset protection work for their clients, such as attorneys, lawyers, CPAs, accountants, and financial planners. These professions have never heard of it because the Illuminati controls all of their assets through their corporation souls. Do not want it to be known. Now, they can't stop it because it's a legal entity under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, but they've slowed it down. And how they slowed it down is they've not allowed it, and this is documented, to be allowed to be taught in the professions that do asset protection work for their clients, such as attorneys, lawyers, CPAs, accountants, and financial planners. Over the past 20-plus years, I have literally talked to hundreds and hundreds of these professions only because they call me. I don't know any one of them, obviously. And the reason they call me is one of their clients has heard me give a presentation on the corporation soul. And three things came out of that. Number one, it sounded too good to be true. Number two, who in the world is Jim Levitt? You know, he could be the biggest gangster conster in the world. And three, the people that write the corporation soul, they charge a fee for it. So they've gone to those people that they know that they've done business with, such as those professions that I mentioned, and asked them to either write them one or give them the green light. And they've all said no because they've never heard of it. And they said no because they wouldn't write it because they don't know about it, and they never heard of it, so they didn't know anything about it. And that's the reason I've had all these calls. Now, I do not write corporation souls. I do not sell them. I don't make any money on them, but I share that information with all mankind to be the start of the protection of their assets when they get here. And you literally want to put everything of your possessions inside that corporation soul. And how that's done is just literally just give you a couple of them. You first of all get an account in the name of that corporation soul. You're the overseer on that. And the corporation soul lives forever. It never dies. It goes into perpetuity. From generation to generation to generation, there's only three names that appear on the corporation soul, and only one of those names has any authority or authorization or power, and that's the overseer. And there's an overseer, secretary, and resident agent. Secretary and resident agents have nothing to do with it or have any charge with it. So it's there, and this goes from generation to generation to generation. So if everyone's got their assets inside of a corporation soul, they could be multi-billionaires, for example, but when they go to the other side called home, there is no probate because they have no estate. They have no estate at all. Yet they be control. It just keeps on going from generation to generation to generation. It doesn't end upon our demise. It still continues to go. So, like I said, I've been involved sharing this, and I've been involved. I have 3 corporation souls that I operate currently for right now, and I'm going to get at least another 50 of them when all these blessings come in to set up my humanitarian projects all over the world. So I just wanted to share that with people because it's a good way to protect their money, and then they can go and get someone to help them, whatever they want to do, to invest it, whatever amounts they want to do, whatever they want to do, or get involved in anything that they want to do, any process, any humanitarian projects or whatever they want to do. But it'll all be protected. I'll be protected. And that's why I want to get these other 50 to have each one put underneath that humanitarian project put underneath that corporation soul for its protection.
That's a mouthful, Jim.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. You're also, are you working with jural assemblies and common law too?
No.
Okay. No.
No, this is all done under this is all under constitutional law, not statutory law, but all constitution. As a matter of fact, when a person has one of the people that does the corporation souls that I'm speaking of, when they are registered with the IRS as a church, so consequently, everyone that gets a corporation soul, this is their church, and that's under your belief system of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And you get a special federal ID number, and of course your federal ID numbers, EI numbers, come from the IRS, and each one that you get from the people that do the corporation soul is a 508 category status, which is mandatory exceptions in the IRS code book, not a 501c3. But a 508, mandatory exceptions. So all churches are eligible for a 508, but the ministers usually aren't the greatest business people in the world. So the people that do whatever they have to do set them up with a 501c3 because there's money involved for everybody. You have some breaks and some breakdowns and some benefits, but you're still under their control. They still know. With a corporation soul, there's no recording, there's no filing, there's no records, there's no issuing, there's no nothing. And the corporation soul can do anything that anything else can do. It's unincorporated. It's a church. It's your church, your religion, your belief system.
It'd be nice if we had like a little manual that did a walkthrough for people on how to approach the formulation of that.
Well, it's just more than that. The lady that did this many years ago took her 7.5 years. She had two mentors. One is a retired Superior Court judge who is an expert in canon law and constitutional law. Canon law, as we know, is the law of England. And another gentleman, which was a friend of the family's, who is one of our better United States House of Representatives. That was Mike Mansfield. And during his tenure, he sat on the third highest seat of our government hierarchy at that time as the Speaker of the House. And the judge is the one that took her under his wing as his protege to do the research on that. And so she did. And she took her a little over 7.5 years to research it and compile it. And when she compiled it, she presented the judge for him to critique it for her, and he did. And he said, Rita, in essence, you did a beautiful job. He says, there's only two things I'm going to recommend that you do. Copyright it and register it. So it's the only copyrighted document, corporation soul documents that have been copyrighted in the United States of America, and it's registered at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. So there's no registration with it. These are notarized. It's an international document all over the world. Good and accepted and respected all over the world. But there's very few. They're more noticeable. They're more known, I should say, in Europe than they are over here. But it's a fantastic document if it's done legally and properly and correctly. And fortunately, I was blessed to be introduced to the lady that did the corporation souls many years ago, in 1995. So I've had 3 that I've operated. I've just got another one, and I've had 4 that I operate for those 20-plus years. I use them every day of my life. They've saved my bacon many times.
That's interesting. It'd be interesting to see what application you can apply that to when we don't have income tax and we don't have Fed IDs.
Well, it's not that. You know, we have 2 financial enemies, as I see it, on this planet, in the United States of America anyway, that can financially, and I'm speaking of financially, destroy us. And they both have. One is our IRS, which has destroyed financially many people. And the other one is our regulatory authorities. This is our judges, courts, and lawyers, and so forth, from suits and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. Now we'll be remiss with which will be gone. As far as Sarah's announced, the IRS will be gone, but we'll still have the judges and the courts and the lawyers and attorneys will be here, and it's not illegal to sue or be sued. Might be immoral, but it's not illegal. So we'll still have that opportunity to do that. There's still going to be, as you mentioned earlier, there's still going to be some leftovers over here once all of the dark cabal is gone that are going to try to do this and try to do that and so forth, etc. And that's what you'll always need, is something to protect those assets, and especially if a person has lots of wealth. You know, people they just go after those people for one reason or the other because they got lots of money, and they feel like they could lose it and they wouldn't even bother them or affect them apparently. So it's going to be.
Jared, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jim.
This is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Jim. This is CJ from Boston. I just had a question. Are there any general vitamins or superfoods or anything that you would recommend someone takes, weekly or daily as supplements, or just something that is a must-have or something you recommend?
You mean an all-in-one type of multiple?
All-in-one, or something that's highly recommended. I know that vitamin D is important, along with vitamin K. I know that vitamin C is important. Some people claim the Ormus is good. I'm drinking healthy water. I don't know if there's something that you would recommend that's
I would, always try whatever you can do. In most cases, it's not always possible, but to get liquid formulas. So I would recommend you can try a product called Vitamite.
Vitamite, okay.
And, liquid is always the best way to go. If you can find liquid, if you find liquid vitamin D3, boom, you take it. If you can find liquid K2, take it. But a lot of the times where we have the powdered capsules and stuff, and where they're ground up and desiccated and put into a little gel cap. But if you take, you want your body to absorb as many nutrients as possible. And when the body doesn't need those nutrients, this is how you can always tell where most of the nutrients will go. It was when you go to the bathroom, the water will be yellow. And that's because a lot of the nutrients that you've taken have not been absorbed by the body. Okay. And eventually the yellow goes away, but I'm saying that that's usually what happens. And you can, I've told people to do that test where you take a multiple vitamin and see how yellow the water is when you have to urinate. And it'll tell you that your body is not absorbing. Most vitamins out there are synthetic vitamins, which means they are not organic created. They're synthetically put together in a lab to replicate similar effects that the regular vitamins have. And what happens is that the body won't absorb them. And a lot of your one-a-days and multiple vitamins out there usually will go right out the stool. And they did an experiment a long time ago in porta potties that they had out on a field, and they fed all these people were taking vitamins, like one-a-day, multiples, and stuff like that, and they found that the majority of the vitamins they ingested ended up in the stool. The body didn't even break them down, see. So that's why when you look for a kind of an all-around nutrient that you're looking for, you want to find one that is organic derived, that's non-GMO, and if all possible, it's liquid. And you take it like capfuls. Now there is one called Ultra Gold Living for Life, I believe the name of it is, and it's in a wafer, and it's in a capsule, and it's in liquid, and it's a tropical green. It's tropical flavored, and it's green, and it has just about everything in it, all derived organically and non-GMO'd. And you can get it at the health food stores. And you usually will find it in the liquid vitamin area. All you got to do is go in health food stores and say, where's your liquid vitamins? And see it's there. And it's about, you can get a little bottle, 8-ounce bottle. It's not cheap for like a 32-ounce bottle. I think it's about $48. So, but it's probably the best multiple liquid I've seen on the market. And you get that to health food stores. But there you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. Okay, we'll end here because we've gone another long time because we covered a lot of subjects, and at this time I was glad we were able to answer more questions. And I've been given guidance to have more of these calls because there's so much information to get out to people. So we're probably going to try to have one of these a week and get the information out to people. Circulate it like on different subjects that can help everybody. A lot of people chimed in tonight that have vast knowledge, vast experiences, long forgotten, that are alive and energetic and wanting to contribute on different subjects. And this is a good forum for people to share and remember that we're all family. And it's, as you guys know, there's not a lot of people out there that you can interact with, and I mean, have a forum where you can kind of discuss and get things and learn things. And, I learn something every single second of every moment I'm alive. So I learned some more tonight, and I just love it. So, but we're going to see if we can do these calls once a week and get so more and more people can get questions and answers done, and on health, on technology, on different areas that we can immediately come to the aid and help people collectively that have situations that need some knowledge and experience with. So I want to just wish every single one of you just an absolute perfect health, perfect wealth, prosperity, abundance, happiness, joy, and bliss. And we will be on the meditation call tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we will continue with planetary meditation, global meditation, and from Prime Source Creator God through me to you, and directly from Prime Source Creator God to all of you. You're all blessed, and you're all loved, and we are all brothers and sisters, and let's continue to rise.
God bless
Thank you. We love your calls. Blessings to all.
God bless, Chad.
Thank you, Jared.